Chapter 1697. After a while, I've looked for you, Wang Feng said. Ha! Qian Renshua laughed and said calmly, I'm afraid you've already forgotten about me somewhere. How is that possible? Wang Feng got up slightly and looked at Qian Renshua with a serious face. I really did look for you, and even if you didn't come back, I would have gone to the Angel Nebula to look for you. The distance between their faces was less than 10 centimeters. Qian Renshua blushed slightly and turned his head with a look of disbelief. You still don't believe me? Wang Feng said, Not only have I looked for you, but I even know what you've experienced in the Angel Nebula all these years. You've created the Dark Order in the Angel Nebula and established the Light-Dark Cosmic Alliance. There are many other things that I know. Qian Renshua was stunned. These things were not secrets in the Angel Nebula. But how did Wang Feng know? There are many things that I know, Wang Feng said seriously. I can tell you one by one. Hearing this, Qian Renshua's expression changed as expected. Has he really been looking for me all this time? Wang Fengxin felt lucky. Previously, when he was looking for the well of reincarnation in the Dark Demon Realm, Wang Feng learned a lot about Tian Xiuwang through angel foam and the souls of several other angels. Basically, he knew most of Qian Renshua's experience in the Angel Nebula. Otherwise, Wang Feng felt that he might be in a daze now. Even if Xiu told him that Qian Renshua went to the Angel Nebula, she would not know what exactly happened to Qian Renshua in the Angel Nebula. After saying those words, Wang Feng began to narrate the things that he had learned. You reincarnated as an angel in the Angel Nebula, and then followed Holy Kaisha to fight in the universe for thousands of years. Later, because of different beliefs, you left the Angel Nebula and traveled the universe. Along the way, we passed by many planets and slaughtered countless demons. It was all in preparation for you to establish the Light-Dark Cosmic Alliance and the Dark Order. Wang Feng said, Later on, the Angel Nebula changed greatly. You returned to the Angel Nebula and defeated Huayi, the leader of the Old Order of the Celestial Palace. You regained control of the Angel Nebula and established the Dark Order, which led to great changes in the Angel Nebula. As Wang Feng spoke, Qian Renshua was touched at first, but then he was shocked. Wasn't he a little too detailed? Even if the Dark Demon Realm had been at war with the Angel Nebula, the Dark Demon Realm would not know him that well, because his personal guards had all died in the war. It was impossible to know many things. For example, he knew all the planets that he had visited during his travels in the universe. However, there are some things that I'm not too sure about. Wang Feng saw a flash of surprise in Qian Renshua's eyes and said, For example, how did Holy Kaisha die? After you established the Dark Order, how did you settle down the angels who originally believed in the Order of Justice? How could you possibly know about these things? Qian Renshua thought to himself. These were the secrets of the Angel Nebula. If he even knew this, it would be too abnormal, unless he had infiltrated the Angel Nebula. I'll tell you, Wang Feng said, I did look for you. Qian Renshua hummed in a low voice and felt a sense of satisfaction in his heart. But you, Wang Feng's tone changed. Back then, you left without saying a word. You didn't leave any message. Do you know how I've survived all these years? How much do you know about my experiences all these years? Qian Renshua was stunned and suddenly stopped talking. She lowered her head and looked a little guilty. Back then, because her views were different from her mother's, she was arrogant and didn't want to be a weak woman. So she resolutely left the divine realm and wanted to become a stronger existence. Later, in the Angel Nebula, she suffered the pain of longing, but in order to become stronger, she never returned to the divine realm. To be precise, she couldn't go back at all because she wasn't strong enough. It was not easy to travel back and forth between two completely different universes. Moreover, she couldn't find the location. Later, because the Dark Demon Realm attacked the blue planet of their universe through a wormhole, she was able to locate the Dark Demon Realm and find the universe coordinates of the Douluo divine realm. After the war ended, she couldn't wait to come back. Indeed, speaking of which, what happened to him all these years? She really didn't know. But I've been thinking about you. Qian Renshua's face turned red, and her voice became lower and lower. When Wang Feng heard that, he knew that her anger had subsided. However, he was going to take the initiative now. Who knows? Wang Feng shrugged. I heard that in the Angel Nebula, an angel will only protect one person for life. No. Qian Renxue shook her head. I don't believe it. Wang Feng said. Qian Renxue vaguely felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't say anything. She could only look at Wang Feng helplessly and say, I used your name as my name when I walked in the Angel Nebula. How could he possibly believe in justice and order? Oh, Wang Feng replied indifferently and said leisurely, then you really don't know anything about my experience all these years. Sigh. His gaze was no longer looking at Qian Renxue, but at the distant sky, looking very sad. You. Qian Renxue glared at Wang Feng and snorted. Then what do you want? Wang Feng thought for a moment, looked at the throne, and then at Qian Renxue, and said, You take the initiative to kiss me, and I will choose to lose my memory. Qian Renxue thought for a moment and nodded gently, just as she was about to respond. Bibiden's voice came from afar. My good daughter has been coaxed by him with just a few words. She can't tell north from south. He knows about your experience because the angels who died in the Angel Nebula are all in the Dark Demon Realm soul territory. His soul entered the soul territory and had a great adventure. 99% of the time, he met the souls of your dead angels in the soul territory and found out about it without much effort. Do you really think that he will spend a lot of time looking for you? This faint voice made Wang Fengxin's heart jump. How can you undermine me like this? This is too much. Wang Feng's face darkened as he looked at Bibi Dong in the distance, trying to signal him with his eyes. Bibi Dong acted as if he didn't see it and continued talking. Qian Renxue's face suddenly froze. Before his lips touched Wang Feng, his whole body stiffened. As for his experience all these years, TSK, is there still a need to say? Bibi Dong sneered. After coming out from the Divine Mountain, he didn't come to the God Realm immediately. Instead, he stayed in the Douluo world for a long time with the euphemistic excuse of wanting to simply take a look at the Douluo world 10,000 years later. Then, in order to fulfill his promise to a certain woman, he even spent a lot of time and effort to create a soul contractor and spread it across the continent, causing the current Douluo world to undergo tremendous changes. At the same time, he also stole the hearts of a few little girls who could call him their ancestor. Then, he pretended to be heartless and ran to the God Realm. He even stole the silver dragon from the God Realm. This silver dragon was sleeping in the Stardow forest of the Douluo continent at that time. As for him, he just happened to be sealed in the Stardow forest for 10,000 years. Tell me, in these 10,000 years, did he still have the heart to think about you? He even ran to the Dark Demon Realm to look for him. All of this has nothing to do with you. He just casually asked about you, and he just happened to hear it all. Chapter 1698. The air was very quiet. Wang Feng was speechless. That was a little too ruthless. No, the strange jealousy had caught Wang Feng off guard. This was a bottle of aged vinegar that had been sealed for 10,000 years. Usually, Wang Feng didn't smell it. He didn't expect that this guy would explode as soon as he left. Oh no. Wang Feng looked at Qian Renxue. Sure enough, Qian Renxue's face was very ugly, as if it had returned to its previous state. No, it was even colder than before. Wang Fengxin said, Damn, fortunately, it didn't know that he, Yin Qingjue, Shiyu, and Yin Mengyao had cultivated the yin-yang intersection origin with their subsouls. If they knew this, the quality of their happy life in the future would be greatly reduced. What she said is true, right? Qian Renxue stared at Wang Feng and said coldly, Yes. Wang Feng said bluntly, Leniency to those who confess. You. Qian Renxue looked at Wang Feng with a frosty face. He admitted it just like that. Over the years, although she didn't know what Wang Feng was thinking, she missed him all the time. That was true. It was just that she was holding back her anger. But now, so what if it's true? Wang Feng said confidently, This can't change at all. I have never forgotten a single strand of your hair. Is it wrong for me to fulfill my promise to others? No, right? This is an excellent quality of a person. As for stealing the hearts of other girls, it's not my fault at all. I've never thought about it, but I can't help it. Maybe I'm too good, and those girls are unknowingly attracted to my charm. What can I do about it? I can't help it. I've been cold enough to them. As for the silver dragon, at first, it was mainly a companion. Later, due to some coincidences, I can't help it. Bibi Dan and Qian Rinxue listened to Wang Feng's self-righteous words. They were stunned for a long time. Then they spat in unison. Why are you still so shameless? Bibi Dan was so angry that he laughed. Qian Rinxue was also infuriated by Wang Feng's shameless words. It had probably been thousands of years since he last heard such words from Wang Feng. But for some reason, these words made her feel a sense of familiarity. This feeling made Qian Rinxue think that he was possessed. Everyone fell silent for a moment. When Wang Feng saw this, he immediately knew. Frankly speaking, my anger is gone again. Although Qian Rinxue did not say anything, Wang Feng could clearly sense that he was no longer angry. As for Bibi Dan, there was no such thing in the first place. Wang Feng knew that she was trying to annoy Qian Rinxue. She didn't want him to be able to coax Qian Rinxue so easily. Was it because Qian Rinxue was her daughter? Or was it because Qian Rinxue was her rival in love? She probably knew that she knew about it. All right, stop fooling around. I have something important to do. Wang Feng coughed twice and said. Bibi Dan turned sideways. She knew what it was. She knew about the origin tribulation deity king. She just didn't know about Yin Qingjue. What is it? Qian Rinxue was silent for a moment, then asked, Can I help you? You can help me. Wang Feng nodded. And only you can help me. Qian Rinxue was stunned. What was it? Was it that important? Only she could help him? But that was good too. Although she felt that something was wrong, Qian Rinxue still felt a little sweet when she heard Wang Feng's words. Do you still remember what happened in the angel's illusion? Wang Feng said. Qian Rinxue's body trembled slightly, as if she had remembered the past. Her cheeks flushed again. Yes, what's wrong? When I was in the angel's illusion, I also met the angel deity who inherited your deity position. Wang Feng didn't mention that the angel deity was Shiyu. I know. Qian Rinxue nodded. What about the origin tribulation deity king? Do you know? Of course, I stayed in the God realm for a while. Didn't you seal yourself for 10,000 years and say that you want to inherit the origin tribulation deity king's power? Wang Feng thought for a moment. I am now one step away from inheriting the origin tribulation deity king's power. Only you can help me with this step. What is it? As long as I can do it. Qian Rinxue nodded seriously. You should know that the angel deity is one of the origin tribulation deity king's powers, right? Wang Feng muttered. You have the origin of the origin tribulation deity king in your body, the angel source core. You need what? You need to fuse the angel source core in your body with the 7 origins I inherited through intercourse. Intercourse? Qian Rinxue was stunned for a while. She stared blankly at Wang Feng. It was as if her brain was thinking about the meaning of those 2 words. It was still okay in the Douluo world, but in the Angel Nebula, after thousands of years of abstinence, she had long forgotten about that stuff. Yes, Wang Feng nodded. It's a very pure kind of intercourse. Qian Rinxue's face turned red and white. She shouted, Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? After saying that, she fell silent. Wang Fengxin said, It was very pure. He was now cultivating the yin-yang intersection origin, so he could cultivate it together with Qian Rinxue. He didn't even need to do that to draw out her angel source core. Wang Feng said this in advance because he wanted to make preparations. If Qian Rinxue couldn't accept it for the time being, then he would directly use the yin-yang intersection origin. If she could accept it, then it would be great. Wang Feng didn't want to force her. Speaking of which, before the God War, their relationship had already been formed naturally. All these years, Wang Feng's feelings for Qian Rinxue naturally wouldn't disappear. Similarly, not only did Qian Rinxue's feelings for him not disappear, but they might be deeper than Wang Feng imagined. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any estrangement when they met after such a long time. Perhaps there was a little bit at the beginning, but it quickly disappeared under his flowery words. It's okay. If you are still angry, then forget it for the time being. Wang Feng thought for a moment. because the three souls were about to merge. If he directly obtained the origin calamity godly king's universal will, then he would most likely become a universe-level life form. Even if he was still a little lacking, as long as he had the universal will, then becoming a universe-level life form would be a certainty. Now, that emotiance was definitely recuperating. It was impossible to plot against him again. Anyway, there was still time. At the same time, he could retreat in order to advance. Qian Rinxue opened her mouth. A rare trace of shyness flashed in her eyes. She was about to speak. At this moment, a light wall suddenly appeared in midair. Yin Mingyao's figure flew out lightly, looked at Wang Feng, and said with a smile, "Huh. The fight is over. Master, I still don't understand the yin-yang intersection origin. Do you want to cultivate with me again?" Then, Yin Mingyao looked at the shy Qian Rinxue who was sticking close to Wang Feng and thought, "Oh, it seems like I came at the wrong time. Yin-yang intersection origin?" Qian Rinxue's expression began to change rapidly. "The name doesn't sound right. Wang Feng, how many things are you hiding from me, yes? What is the yin-yang intersection origin?" Qian Rinxue asked loudly. "Who else did you cultivate with?" Wang Feng. In the distance, Bibi Dong looked at Wang Feng with a faint smile on her face. She didn't know about this matter. Chapter 1699. Wang Feng glared at Yin Mingyao. Why is she stirring up trouble now? Clearly, she did it on purpose. Furthermore, Wang Feng suspected that Yin Mingyao didn't take the initiative, but was instructed by someone else. What happened in Douluo world couldn't be hidden from the God Realm. It couldn't be hidden from Shiyu, the embodiment of the God Realm's heavenly Tao. Thinking about it this way, Yin Mingyao was most likely instructed by Yin Qingjue, and Yin Qingjue wouldn't cause trouble for no reason. The only possibility was that Shiyu asked Yin Qingjue to instruct Yin Mingyao to suddenly run over and say something like that. She was fanning the flames. "It doesn't matter who I cultivate with." Wang Feng changed the topic. "It's a kind of origin energy that requires both parties to cultivate together. It helps my soul to become the soul of the initial wheel, and at the same time, it can restore some of the incomplete energy." Qian Rinxue responded with an "oh," obviously not believing him. She wanted to ask why he didn't choose to cultivate with us, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Furthermore, if you don't cultivate, you can't defeat emotiance. Wang Feng explained again. His reasoning was still somewhat credible. Yin Mingyao giggled at the side, as if she was watching a show. Seeing that Qian Rinxue didn't say anything, Wang Feng guessed that Qian Rinxue wouldn't agree to it for the time being. "Why don't I return to Angel Nebula with you? You should want to go back and take a look, right?" Wang Feng said. "After all, you've been in that world for thousands of years. You'll live much longer than in Douluo world." Actually, Qian Rinxue was more like a king now, the heaven cultivation king of Angel Nebula. Her sense of belonging to Angel Nebula was even stronger than the God Realm. Thousands of years was enough for her to adapt to any place and develop a sense of familiarity. "No," Qian Rinxue snorted. "Angel Nebula is full of female angels. What do you want to do if you go back with me? Why? Aren't the girls around you enough?" Wang Feng. Wang Feng felt that he really didn't think in that direction. "Do I really look like an LSP to you?" Wang Feng felt that if he wanted to, it would be easy for him to change girls every day. With his current strength and charm, as long as it was a female, she wouldn't be able to resist him. "I'm angry when you say that," Wang Feng said unhappily. "With you, the Angel Nebula's heaven cultivation monarch, do you think the other angels in the Angel Nebula can still enter my eyes?" Qian Rinxue was secretly pleased when he heard this. But then he thought for a moment and said, "What if there really is one?" "Really?" Wang Feng was stunned. He pretended to think for a moment. Then, "I can think about it, you." Qian Rinxue glared at Wang Feng with anger in his eyes. In fact, she was not afraid that Wang Feng would go to the Angel Nebula to seduce the angels. Instead, he was worried that if Wang Feng went there, many angels would be distracted by him. "I refuse to do that. I don't want to give you the angel source core," Qian Rinxue said as he turned around. "As for emotiance, you will have to think of a way to deal with him yourself." Then I'll just find someone else, Wang Feng said with a sigh. There will always be a way. Don't you dare. Qian Renxue turned around immediately, looking even more embarrassed. However, when she saw the smile in Wang Feng's eyes, she knew that this bastard was obviously teasing her. Qian Renxue sighed faintly. Talk to me, Qian Renxue said softly. Talk to me about what happened to you in the past few years. Otherwise, I'll always feel that it's unreal. Wang Fengxin said, How could I forget about this? We should talk about it. He glanced at Bibidon. Bibidon didn't say anything. Let's go to the ancestral realm, Wang Feng said. That realm has just been born, and it's very beautiful now. Qian Renxue nodded in agreement. Yin Mingyao immediately moved aside and watched as Qian Renxue sat on the throne and flew into the ancestral realm again. After the two of them left, Yi Zichen looked at them with a smile. Bibidon looked at Yin Mingyao and said, Who else did he cultivate that yin-yang intersection origin with? Yin Mingyao thought for a moment. This matriarch's status was different, so it didn't matter. Yama and Shiyu of the God Realm. Shiyu? Bibidon frowned slightly, as if it was the first time he heard this name. Shiyu was the embodiment of the God Realm's heavenly axiom. Unlike Yin Qingjue, she almost never showed her face in the God Realm. She was very Buddhist. Her status is the same as Yama in the Dark Demon Realm, Yin Mingyao replied. Bibidon's eyes flashed. That seemed to be really different. Yama was in charge of the Dark Demon Realm on the surface, but Bibidon knew that her identity should be more special and mysterious. And it was obvious that she had a very close relationship with Wang Feng. Especially after Wang Feng self-destructed, his soul should have gone to find the reincarnation well and had a fortuitous encounter. This definitely had something to do with Yama, who was also in the reincarnation well. What is the yin-yang intersection origin? Bibidon asked again. It's a special kind of origin that requires both parties to cultivate together to improve their souls. The yin and yang souls that are cultivated can slightly touch a higher level of power. In other words, the will of the universe. That's all I know. Then, to cultivate this kind of origin, does it require the souls of both parties to mate? Bibidon managed to ask this question calmly. Yin Mingyao laughed. No need. We don't even need to touch each other. It only requires the soul power of both parties to merge. Bibidon made an O sound and said, You didn't come out unintentionally just now, did you? Who instructed you to do so? Yin Mingyao made an O sound. This mistress was indeed very smart. Or rather, she was very familiar with the ways of women. Yin Mingyao didn't say anything. Even if you don't say it, I know, Bibidon said. It's that Shiyu from the God Realm, right? I know the Yin Lord well. Why? Could it be that after cultivating this kind of origin energy, she has taken Wang Feng as her man? When she said this, Bibidon's face showed an expression that Yin Mingyao couldn't understand. That I don't know either, Yin Mingyao said. What about you? Bibidon looked at her. Me? Yin Mingyao thought for a moment. He's my master. It's that simple. The purpose of my existence is to help him rebuild the ancestral realm. Bibidon couldn't help but smile. She looked at the sky as if she could see the distant God Realm. God Realm, Sea of Reincarnation. This isn't like you. The black color in the golden sea had completely disappeared. Yin Qingjue and Shiyu sat cross-legged on the calm surface of the sea. The one who spoke was Yin Qingjue. How is it not like me? Shiyu said indifferently. Yin Qingjue glanced at her. With your personality, you don't seem like the kind of person who would engage in some kind of struggle with them. What could it be that you've developed some subtle feelings for Wang Feng? You've cultivated both yin and yang souls. More or less, you have some feelings. Shiyu didn't seem to have any intention of hiding it. I'm the embodiment of the heavenly Tao. Theoretically speaking, I don't belong to karma and have no feelings. Basically, I can't develop feelings. No. Yin Qingjue shook her head. That's when you don't have a physical body. But you have the complete will of the heavenly embryo and have already forged a physical body. With a physical body, it means that you're already in the midst of karma. You have feelings and you have feelings. This is the biggest difference between you and me. Moreover, You used your will of the heavenly embryo to create a physical body for him. This means that the two of you have the same origin. No matter how unfamiliar you are, there will be some kind of connection between you. Over time, you'll develop feelings. Shiyu was silent. She didn't refute. Chapter 1700. For him to have reached this step, we could be considered to have succeeded. Shiyu stood up and looked at the sparkling reincarnation ocean. Next, we'll have to see if he can rebuild the ancestral realm before the calamity. So, you going to retreat? Yin Qingjue laughed. Then why did you ask me to instruct Meng Yao to cause trouble? If Meng Yao didn't go out, Qian Renshua wouldn't have rejected. Now that you're going out and saying those words, he'll definitely reject you. You know, he's only one step away from inheriting origin tribulation, godly king. Shiyu glanced at her. Of course, I won't retreat. Shiyu shook her head. From the moment we chose to cultivate yin-yang dual cultivation origins with him, it's impossible to retreat. In the future, the survival of the god realm would be tied to him. I just don't want him to inherit origin tribulation, godly king, so quickly. Oh, why? Yin Qingjue asked. She definitely knew more about origin tribulation, godly king than her. Because Shiyu was silent for a while before saying faintly, origin tribulation, godly king's universal will is the emotionless will. Inheriting this will may cause him to sever all emotions and only have a pure purpose in his heart. The only thing in his heart will not be swayed by any emotions. Origin tribulation, godly king's only will was to rebuild the wilderness. He comprehended the 7 origins, and based on the other origins, he comprehended this universal will. I just hope that I can rebuild the primordial world in my lifetime. He is a great being with lofty ideals in his heart. I admire him, but I don't want him to be the one who cultivates yin-yang dual soul with me. Yin Qingjue took a deep breath. She wasn't sure what universal will the origin tribulation godly king had. Moreover, this is indeed a very special universal will. She whispered. It's also very powerful. It's not like Mo Tiant's galaxy will, which can suppress the endless world directly. Once this will is obtained, one's strength will be hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of times stronger than before. It'll be strong enough to ignore any pressure from other universal wills. Yin Qingjue closed her eyes. As Shiyu said, it was impossible to say that she didn't have any feelings for Wang Feng. But back then, she had told Wang Feng that her feelings towards Wang Feng were indeed the same as how a human soul contract master treated a soul contract beast. Slowly nurture and nurture them. As a system, she witnessed Wang's to put him under pressure and put him in dangerous situations to challenge him to surpass himself. For example, the soul contract masters in the Douluo world would slowly nurture their soul contract beasts and watch them become stronger step by step. However, if one day, Wang Feng lost his emotions like the tribulation origin god king, Yin Qingjue felt that she couldn't accept it either. In the end, he is not the origin tribulation god king. After some thought, Yin Qingjue said he might not become another origin tribulation god king. He is Wang Feng. Your worries are reasonable, but I feel that he might not be the same as what we think. Shiyu didn't say anything. She just quietly looked at the sea of reincarnation, which reflected the faces of all living beings. At this moment, Wang Feng, who was traveling with Qian Renshua in the ancestral realm, did not know about this. He didn't know what origin tribulation divine, king's universal will was. His thoughts were simple. With a complete universal will, it was inevitable for him to become a universal life form. He would be able to take a big step forward. Ancestral realm. This world is indeed beautiful. 100 meters up in the sky, the continuous mountain range rose and fell like a swimming dragon. The horizon was suffused with multicolored light, and immortal energy lingered between the mountains. In the distance, there was a large river with a majestic aura surrounding it. Countless rare and precious herbs were hidden in every corner of the earth, waiting to mature and bloom. But there's no life. Qian Renshua said after some thought. We can create one. Wang Feng continued. Qianren, who wants to create one with you? Qianren was a little embarrassed and angry. Wang Feng was stunned for a moment before he explained, "No, when I said create one, I meant create one with life energy, not that kind of thing. With your current strength, creating life isn't difficult. Similarly, it's easy for me. Creating life was something even God Kings could do easily. But the prerequisite was what kind of life was created. For example, those mortal beings could be created with a flick of the finger. But if one wanted to create powerful, innate life forms in the ancestral realm, they would need a special life source." "So I misunderstood you?" Qianren glared at him. "You didn't misunderstand me?" Wang Feng was speechless. As he spoke, Wang Feng suddenly looked around. Then his eyes lit up. "Look at a place." Wang Feng pointed at a place. It was a cave that appeared in the middle of the undulating mountain forest. It was neither big nor small. "What are you looking at?" Qianren didn't understand. "Doesn't that cave look like the cave where the 30,000-year-old beast we met in the Great Star Doe Forest spent the night?" Wang Feng asked. Qianren was enlightened. Memories flooded in like a tide. For a moment, it was hard to describe the feelings in his heart. "That night, I had such a good opportunity, but I didn't do anything to you," Wang Feng said with a serious face. "So, I'm actually a very serious person. Not as much as you think. It's not just to inherit the power of the origin tribulation God King." Qianren was silent for a moment, then said, "Okay, what kind of life do you want to create?" Wang Feng pondered for a moment. The ancestral realm was actually very special. But a newborn world without any power to support it, it would be a waste of such a powerful world if it was left alone. Innate life forms needed to be created, and laws needed to be constructed for this world. More importantly, a powerful civilization needed to be born in this world, and the seeds of Tao needed to be spread in this world. And all of this required a living being. "Do you like boys or girls?" Wang Feng asked. "Or not people are fine too. Flowers, plants, trees, stones, or springs are fine too." Qianren blushed slightly. He felt that this was a little sensitive. She thought for a moment, then said, "Flowers. What kind of flowers?" After Wang Feng finished speaking, he glanced at Qianren. "Pure, right? Angels symbolize purity and beauty. Let's create a flower that symbolizes purity and beauty." "No." Qianren shook his head. "Just an ordinary flower will do. It doesn't need to symbolize life." Wang Feng was a little surprised. He didn't know what Qianren meant, but he still nodded. The two landed in the forest. Qianren casually pointed at a wildflower on the ground and said, "An ordinary one like this will do. But this kind of flower only has one chance to bloom. It will bloom for the life forms that can appreciate its beauty. That will be the most beautiful time of her life, and she will have the most power. After that, she will wither." Wang Feng was speechless. That's too cultured. He didn't expect Qianren to be so cultured. "No problem," Wang Feng said, "but the innate life forms we create will definitely be powerful. They may even have the chance to reach the highest level of the world. You must know this. If you want to be like an ordinary wildflower, we can create one in a snap of our fingers." "I know." Qianren nodded slightly. His eyes wandered. Chapter 17:01. Wang Feng had actually sensed Qianren thoughts. She wanted to create such words because she was worried. Qianren opened her palm. As a breeze blew past, her blonde hair fluttered slightly. A speck of light that looked like sand condensed in her palm. Wang Feng placed his palm on top of hers and condensed another speck of light. The energy of life converged in it. It seemed to be able to convey the thoughts of both parties. "When I was on the Divine Mountain, every few hundred years, you would come down one after another to talk to me," Wang Feng suddenly said. "But later, you never appeared. At that time, I knew that you must have left. Also, it was definitely not because you had a conflict with your mother. I think that, given your pride, you would definitely not want to stay in the God realm after you go there. After all, the upper limit of the God realm is visible. You are such a strong person." Wang Feng sighed softly. "You are stronger than your mother. But in fact, when you were in the Douluo world, you told me that you didn't like being controlled by others. It wasn't just about being strong. You didn't want to be controlled by me. Perhaps you felt that there was such a relationship between us. The reason you didn't want to do that with me wasn't actually because of that. Instead, you were worried. If you gave me the angelic source core in your body, would you become an ordinary angel? Because you knew that when you were reincarnated as an angel in the angel nebula, the power of the angel god would still be there to make you stronger in the angel nebula. Qianren pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Also, what you were more concerned about wasn't that you couldn't accept becoming an ordinary angel. It was that you couldn't accept that becoming an ordinary angel wouldn't be of any help to me. You felt that the only use would probably be to please me by my side. That was the most unacceptable thing for you. You wanted to create this kind of flower to be a metaphor for yourself. Isn't that right? Wang Feng looked at Qianren and asked. The angelic source core in Qianren body was different from the half of the pop tear that Wang Feng had given Zhu Zhuqing. The angel origin core was the source of the origin calamity, divine kings, split into two divine kings. Once it was lost, the Qianren would lose its source of power. However, due to the tempering she had undergone in the angel nebula, there wouldn't be any obvious changes if she lost her angelic source core in a short period of time. However, as time passed, his strength would definitely slowly decline. She had worked so hard to cultivate for so long, but it was all for naught. Moreover, this wasn't something she couldn't accept. What she couldn't accept was that she had become weak. If she stayed by Wang Feng's side, wouldn't she become a vassal who only knew how to act coquettishly to please him? So what if I am? Qianren hand trembled. The two palms faced each other. Two grains of origin energy that looked like sand and dust intersected with each other. Under the control of the Qianren, the two grains of origin energy gradually turned into a strange flower bud. It seemed to be nurturing something. Wang Feng opened his mouth and was about to speak. Qianren beat him to it. You might say that your feelings for me won't change at all. I'm still Qianren. Yes, there won't be any changes in a short period of time. However, what about as time passes? I'll become weaker, and you'll become stronger. The gap between us will widen. When our feelings change, Wang Feng, you're not a loyal man. You have feelings for many girls. Moreover, no matter how loyal a person is, the greater the gap between the two of them, the final result will be indifference and separation. Time is the greatest enemy of all life in the universe. No matter how strong a life form is, it can't withstand the decay of time. You can transcend time, but I can't. Without an angelic source core, I can't even achieve immortality. Even in the angel nebula, I'll quickly decline. The genetic code that we study in the angel nebula can only achieve relative immortality. However, time in the universe is declining. I can give you an angelic source core, but can you, who can transcend the river of time, be immortal with me? Even if you can, reality won't let you do it. The more Qianren spoke, the more excited she became. With her current strength that surpassed Holy Kaisha, she was already the most powerful existence in the universe where the Angel Nebula was located. However, Wang Feng knew that there were differences in the universe. The universe where Qianren was located belonged to the low-element universe. The low-element universe only had a history of 10 billion years. Element was another name for the origin wheel. Element itself was also the meaning of origin, which meant that the low-element universe had yet to experience the origin wheel tribulation. This was because the level of life in the universe had yet to reach the level of a universe-level life form that could transcend the river of time. Therefore, it was impossible to trigger the origin wheel tribulation in the universe. In this kind of universe, there was only one river of time and one historical line. Therefore, time was declining. The strongest life forms in the universe, such as Holy Kaisha and Qianren, could achieve immortality relative to the river of time. Unfortunately, the decline of the universe was irreversible. Once another universe-level life form cut off the river of time in their universe, then the universe where Qianren was located would face the collapse of the universe. She would not be able to escape, and the final outcome would be death. In addition to the low-element universe, there was also the mid-element universe, the high-element universe. The multiverse had countless rivers of time and endless historical lines. Even if a river of time disappeared, the universe would not be destroyed. A considerable number of universe-level life forms have been born inside it. In theory, one could truly achieve immortality. Moreover, once Qian Renshua lost the angel source core, it meant that the upper limit of her growth might be strangled. Wang Feng was silent. He could not answer Qian Renshua. Qian Renshua had basically said everything she wanted to say. Wang Feng had not expected that the angel source core, which he had thought would be easy to obtain, would actually cause such problems. Perhaps I subconsciously regarded Qian Renshua as my possession. I thought that there was no reason for her to not give me something that belongs to her. Wang Fengxin sighed. Or perhaps I thought that our previous relationship would not have these problems. However, in reality, Qian Renshua was not a tool. What if I really asked you for it? Wang Feng asked. Would you give me the angel source core? Qian Renshua was silent for a moment. She nodded and said in a low voice, I will give it to you. Then I don't want it. Wang Feng said softly. This flower is going to be good. Have you thought of a name? Snow epiphyllum, Qian Renshua said. Along with the life energy in their hands, the balls of light in their hands slowly dripped onto the ground like flower buds. After a short while, they struggled slightly from the soil and a tender shoot sprang out. Then, they quickly absorbed the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. This flower needs a lot of divine power to nurture. It is not enough to rely on the energy of this world. The ancestral realm had not been born for long. It was too immature. Moreover, the ancestral realm was not like the primeval world of the past. After its creation, countless innate treasures and innate life forms were born. Chapter 17:02. This was just a seed left behind by the ancient world, nurturing some true meaning. In fact, it still needed the latecomers to slowly develop this world with infinite potential. Otherwise, with the strength of the origin tribulation godly king, wouldn't it be too easy to nurture a world? This world was equivalent to a blank sheet of paper. It was up to the latecomers to draw a peerless painting on this blank sheet of paper. Qian Renshua nodded and didn't say anything. After the conversation, just now, Wang Feng felt that there was something subtle between him and Qian Renshua. In fact, the solution was very simple. It was to let Qian Renshua have the possibility of becoming a universal life form. It was simple to say, to become a universal life form, one must have the will of the universe. It didn't matter if one could comprehend it on their own or find it, one must have it. But it wasn't so easy to get it. Wang Feng told Qian Renshua about his experiences over the years. No matter how big or small, basically everything that could be said was clear. He didn't have any secrets on him now. He even told Qian Renshua about the origin tribulation godly king's plan and the cause and effect behind his transmigration to the Douluo world. You could be where you are today. So, most of it is because of Yin Qingjue from the Dark Demon realm. After listening, Qian Renshua seemed to have returned to his previous state. Then this Yin Qingjue is very important to you? Let's make a deal. Wang Feng pondered. We each take what we need. She may have some secrets. But to me, it's not important. Besides, Yin Qingjue, Xie from the God realm, is the same. Our relationship is more of a deal. There's not much emotion mixed in. Qian Renshua had a look of disbelief. That Xie, is she beautiful? Qian Renshua asked. This, Wang Feng thought and said, that kind of beauty, is it in my heart or not? Is there a difference? Yes, Wang Feng said. In my heart, she is very beautiful, but not as beautiful as you. Not in my heart. She is indeed more beautiful. Sweet words. Qian Renshua pushed Wang Feng. What's wrong with flirting with a woman you like? Wang Feng said. Qian Renshua snorted and said nothing. The ancestral realm had a great view, and Qian Renshua's throne had everything under her. What a pity. Wang Feng looked at the undulating mountains of the ancestral realm. There's no vitality here. it lacks a strong world origin, so it can't nurture any supreme treasures. However, this world is so big, and its upper limit is very high. The origin tribulation godly king's dream is to rebuild the great desolate Aeon. Anyway, you can't inherit his power now, and you don't have to bear this dream. Isn't that better for you? Qianrenxue said in a strange tone. You're right. Wang Feng thought for a moment. But if it weren't for God King origin tribulation, I wouldn't be where I am now. Moreover, I also have a kind of expectation for this world. I might be able to think of a way to rebuild the primordial world. Tell me about it. Qianrenxue narrowed his eyes. If you could surprise me, I might change my mind. Wang Feng nodded. The ancestral realm was actually lacking. It had the world origin as its foundation, the godly power of laws as fertilizer, and time as its soil. If Wang Feng was alone, even if he became a universe-level life form, it would take an unimaginable amount of time to develop the ancestral realm. It wasn't difficult to simply set the rules for this world. However, it was difficult to make this world grow quickly. Without an endless supply of fertilizer, it was impossible to nourish this newborn world. Now that it had just been opened, the spirit chi of heaven and earth seemed rich, but the ancestral realm didn't have the world origin. As the heavenly Tao, Yin Mengyao was too weak. Perhaps even before life was born, the world would begin to enter the age of chaos, where the spirit chi was exhausted, and then become an ordinary small world. It would be a waste of this vast and boundless area. Thinking about how strong the primordial world was, it gave birth to so many powerful universe-level life forms. It transcended the universe's reincarnation and time. To recreate the glory of that time was like a moat. What I'm thinking is to obtain the godly power of laws from other worlds and inject it into this world. Wang Feng said simply, the small world is endless, but the belief of life is the same. The simplest way to obtain the godly power of laws is through the belief of life and the power of will. The gods of the divine realm rely on the power of will to become strong. Similarly, to nurture this world, as long as we can find endless life forms and obtain their power of will. At the same time, as a god, it's enough to bestow some extraordinary power to the life forms of these small worlds. As long as there are enough small worlds, the power of will be endless. The ancestral realm's fertilizer is enough. After a long time, it will automatically nurture powerful life forms. Just like how we create powerful innate life forms, we also need godly power. The snow oxypetalum just now only consumed a portion of our godly power. The more powerful the innate life form, the more godly power it will consume. Qianrenxue listened and felt that the idea was simple and effective. But how can you find so many small worlds? Qianrenxue asked. According to the primordial world you mentioned, just relying on the universe might not be enough, even with the power of will of trillions of life forms. Moreover, our universe seems vast, but in reality, the number of life forms isn't high. Because in our universe, what we pursue is the quality of life, not the quantity. That's simple. Wang Feng smiled. Do you know about the multiverse? In the multiverse, there are countless long rivers of time. And in these long rivers of time, there are countless small worlds. Among these small worlds, some I'm familiar with, and some I'm not. As long as they are weaker than me, the power I bestow upon them is enough to allow them to greatly improve and obtain the power of will of life. Do you know about the blue planet? Your universe has a blue planet. But in the middle era, high era, and even the multiverse, there may be countless blue planets. Qianrenxue held his breath slightly. In the dark demon realm, Yin Xingjue let the treasure-gathering rock chamber of commerce build the bloody graveyard. They took in many tomb dwellers, gave them power, and let them collect all kinds of resources in many small worlds. Then, this process repeated infinitely, slowly nurturing these tomb dwellers, and then letting them enter the real great world to fight. Yin Xingjue is a very intelligent person, but this method of hers, to me, is not very unusual. At this point, Wang Feng paused. He didn't say anything more. What do you want to do? Qian Rinchua's curiosity was piqued. Are you interested? Wang Feng looked at her with a smile. Yes. Qian Rinchua nodded. Have you changed your mind? Wang Feng asked. If you have, I'll continue. Qian Rinchua lowered her head. After a while, she said with a slightly red face, Didn't I say that if you really want the angel source core, I'll definitely give it to you? She had given the choice to Wang Feng. However, Wang Feng obviously wouldn't be stumped. He thought for a moment, then whispered in Qian Rinchua's ear, I can give up the angel source core, but I definitely want you. Qian Rinchua understood Wang Feng's meaning. She clenched her fists and closed her eyes slightly. Oh, there's a chance. Wang Feng didn't say anything and moved closer. Chapter 17:03. After the event, the blue sky of the ancestral realm was leisurely. Wang Feng was lying comfortably on the bed, condensed from white clouds. His muscular body was faintly discernible in the clouds. Looking at the vast sky, Wang Feng felt that he should light a cigarette at this time. Wang Feng believed that he was definitely not the kind of person who was obsessed with women. However, from now on, you are my guardian angel. Wang Feng said sternly to Qian Rinchua, who was holding his hand. In the vast clouds, he could vaguely see the white skin, exuding a jade-like luster, but with a bit of red. It was particularly attractive. Especially in this cloud, it was looming in and out of the clouds, adding a bit of charm. Who wants to be your guardian angel? Qian Rinchua's tone was a little lazy, but also a little soft, as if she was weak. Wang Feng smiled, his palm in the clouds, stroking the jade-like skin, feeling the unique temperature of an angel. The genetic code of the Angel Nebula allowed every angel to have the most perfect face and body ratio. This was incomparable to a pure human. Qian Rinchua, who was reincarnated in the Angel Nebula, obviously inherited this characteristic. Compared to her in the Douluo world, her charm index was several levels higher. The body, secretly constructed by this kind of genetic code, was perfect. However, she used kind of beauty was more like a kind of artistic beauty, like a natural beauty that transcended genes. Between the two, there were actually advantages and disadvantages. Qian Rinchua's body really made Wang Feng feel unusually comfortable. That kind of feeling was indescribable with words. Haven't you touched enough? Qian Rinchua glared at Wang Feng. Her face blushed, and her tone pretended to be calm. Yes, I have touched enough. Wang Feng pondered, but I feel that I haven't had enough. How did you feel just now? Not good. Qian Rinchua raised her chin slightly and snorted. I didn't feel anything at all. Just as she finished snorting, her body suddenly trembled, as if she had been hit in a vital part, and her voice couldn't help but tremble a little. You want to do it again? Since you don't feel anything, you have to do it again. Wang Feng nodded. This is the bottom line of a man's self-esteem. Qian Rinchua was both amused and annoyed. As she thought about it, her cheeks became hot. No, I'm tired, Qian Rinchua refused. You're not tired. As an angel, your body can casually fight with those powerhouses for a few days and nights without feeling tired. Wang Feng didn't believe him. It's only been a few hours. Qian Rinchua glared at him angrily. This time, I'll make you feel something. Wang Feng said solemnly. Ha! Qian Rinchua sneered with a red face. Let's go somewhere else, Wang Feng said. With that, he waved his hand, and the two of them arrived at the throne of Qian Rinchua. Just now, the two of them had come to their senses. With the white clouds as their bed, they fought for thousands of rounds. Wang Feng looked at the throne and said, Let's do it here. How could Qian Rinchua not understand Wang Feng's intention? This was her throne, the most powerful symbol of the Angel Nebula. It was her palace in the universe. When she sat on the throne, she would face countless angels and life forms in the universe. Qian Rinchua's face was very hot. Don't go too far. This place is not good. Why not? It's good. Wang Feng blew into Qian Rinchua's ear. Xiao Shui, I like to see you sitting high and mighty on the throne. Pervert. Qian Rinchua turned her head away. Although she refused, she knew that she couldn't refuse her lover's request. Most importantly, she also felt a little excited in her heart. Xiao Shui, go and hold the throne's handle. Wang Feng ordered Qian Rinxue again. Qian Rinxue glared at Wang Feng, but she walked over as if she was possessed. Nothing needed to be said. Wang Feng felt that this throne was very good. It was spacious and could be used in any way. Not to mention 2 people, it should be more than enough for 3 people. This made Wang Feng sigh. It was a bit wasteful. After an unknown period of time, Wang Feng sat on the throne. He had already put on his clothes. He hugged Qian Rinxue and whispered sweet nothings in her ear. Qian Rinxue's cheeks were red. Her eyebrows were full of charm, and her face was emitting a bright smile. Below the throne, outside the huge arched door, Angel Yu opened her eyes in a daze. She had a very strange dream. In the dream, there were 2 blurry figures that were engaging in mating activities. A series of soul-shattering moans came out from the woman's mouth. Sometimes it was high, sometimes it was hoarse, sometimes it was gentle, sometimes it was hurried. It made her feel something unusual. Fortunately, it was just a dream. But this dream made Angel Yu very irritated. She had only been in the abstinence zone for a few hundred years. Could it be that she wanted men? How could this be? As the follower of the dignified Tian Xiu King, even Tian Xiu King didn't have the heart to find man. How could she find a man? She gave herself a slap at her dream to wake herself up. Then she murmured intermittently, Shui, you can't deny it now, right? You came more than when you started the battle. It seems that you also like to play on the throne. A male voice sounded. Wang Feng, shut the hell up. I don't like it. It's you who likes it. You forced me. An embarrassed voice sounded. This was Tian Xiu King's voice. Angel Yu was stunned. But why did Tian Xiu King's voice have such a big emotional fluctuation? It sounded like he was quarreling with his lover. Then just now, which one did you like the most? It was that male voice again. There was a hint of a smile. I don't like any of them. Don't ask me such a dirty question. Tian Xiu King's voice was a little angry. Which one? Could be a battle move. Angel Yu's heart trembled. To be able to exchange blows with Tian Xiu King, this man was definitely not an ordinary person. Furthermore, from this voice, could it be Tian Xiu King's man? That Wang Feng? He had already come back to life. Angel Yu listened attentively. She didn't know what kind of battle had happened between the 2. If she could hear a thing or 2, it could become her future battle experience. Even if you don't say it, I know. The male voice chuckled with a hint of ridicule. Shut up. You're not allowed to say it. It's the old tree roots that I used when I was standing on the throne just now, right? Your reaction was the most intense. Dong, dong, dong. There seemed to be a few sounds of fists knocking on the chest, mixed with some scolding. Old tree roots? What kind of move was this? Angel Yu frowned. A man who could fight with Tian Xiu King must be extremely strong. This must be an earth-shattering move. Although she didn't understand, Angel Yu still remembered it. She finally opened her eyes and saw a handsome man dressed in white standing in the main hall below the throne with Tian Xiu King. The 2 of them had a smile on their faces and seemed to have stopped quarreling. What a charming man, Angel Yu thought. This man seemed to have an appearance and body that was even more perfect than an angel. Even the most picky angel couldn't find a single flaw on his body. His body also emitted a unique aura, as if he was compatible with all things in the universe. His eyes seemed to hide a beautiful world, extremely profound. Chapter 1704. This is the man that Tianxiu monarch has been looking for? Angel Yu thought to herself. Indeed, only a man like this is worthy of Tianxiu monarch. She opened her eyes and walked over immediately. Xiao Yu, you're awake. It seems like your injuries are no longer a problem. Qian Rinxue regained his solemn expression and exuded an aura of respect. Yes. Angel Yu quickly knelt down on one knee. Xiao Yu is too useless. I didn't expect such a powerful existence to exist in this world. She was referring to Mo Tian's clone. A little angel like her couldn't even withstand the remnant power of the galaxy will and was sent flying in a single blow. If it wasn't for Qian Rinxue protecting her, she might have died. It's not your problem. You're still young. Qian Rinxue shook his head slightly. My king, you've defeated that enemy, right? Angel Yu looked at Qian Rinxue with admiration. Since she was safe, she was sure that the terrifying guy had been defeated by her king. Qian Rinxue thought for a moment and said, yes, he defeated him. Oh right, his name is Wang Feng. Qian Rinxue glanced at Wang Feng and said proudly, he's my man. I, Tianqiu Monarch, will be his guardian angel. Angel Yu was greatly shaken and looked at Wang Feng in horror. Fortunately, she was mentally prepared and could barely accept the shock brought by Qian Rinxue's words. Wang Feng nodded at the little angel. You only brought one angel with you? Actually, I didn't bring anyone. Qian Rinxue shook his head. I came alone. This little girl is used to following me around, so she followed me. I think it's good to let her see the world. Wang Feng nodded and glanced at Angel Yu. He didn't find anything special about her. She was just an angel from the Angel Nebula. However, she should have some potential since she was able to follow Qian Rinxue around. However, just as Qian Rinxue finished speaking, Wang Feng sensed a strange energy from this little angel. It was the power of hope. Wang Feng shook his head helplessly, thinking that the Qian Rinxue was indeed powerful. He could make this little angel believe in him with just one sentence. It seemed that these angels worshipped Qian Rinxue almost mindlessly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have generated the anima of yearning with just a few words. In fact, the impact of Qian Rinxue's words was far more exaggerated than what Wang Feng had imagined. Tian Xiu King's man. Those words were enough to raise a storm in any corner of the universe where the Angel Nebula was located. Since she's your follower angel, Wang Feng thought for a moment. Why don't you give her a gift? Qian Rinxue glanced at Wang Feng. Don't look at me like that. Wang Feng patted Qian Rinxue's shoulder and transmitted his voice. I'm not interested in this little angel. If he didn't use it, that was fine too. But as your man, I can't be so petty. Then what do you want to do? Qian Rinxue narrowed his eyes. Wang Feng pondered for a moment, glanced at the little angel, and said, Your name is Angel Yu? Yes, yes. Angel Yu replied to Wang Feng with trepidation. Come here. Wang Feng waved his hand. Angel Yu reluctantly took a few steps forward. Wang Feng's eyes flashed, and a special triangular crystal model appeared in the depths of his pupils. The primordial origin was activated, turning into an invisible energy that enveloped Angel Yu. Countless runes, like ancient runes, appeared densely around the Angel Jade. This is the super genetic code of your Angel Nebula? Wang Feng closed his eyes. The Angel Nebula, which walked the path of half-gods and half-technology, had a high level of civilization and could already pry into the ultimate mystery of life. But for Wang Feng, especially in front of the primordial origin, it was very simple. In the civilization of the Angel Nebula, the supergenetic secret was pure conceptual data, and the body of every life contained this special secret. And the key to open the secret belonged to the core secret of the angel civilization. They used this to decipher the genetic secret of life, allowing angels to have beautiful bodies and powerful strength. At the same time, in the era of Holy Kaisha, a secondary biological engine was developed to drive angels to engage in higher intensity battles. And the most special thing about the supergenetic code for angels was the divine body. According to the development of the genetic secret, the divine body of the angel would be updated. In the era of Holy Kaisha, the Angel Nebula developed a celestial computer to analyze this genetic secret. The information in it was also called the Holy Knowledge Vault. Until now, it was still operating and analyzing the fourth-generation divine body, also known as the divine body. It could have eternal life relative to the universe. But to analyze the secrets of every angel's genes, it would take too much time and energy. Generally, only the owner of this celestial computer could barely analyze it. Therefore, only the Angel King with the Holy Knowledge Vault had the chance to analyze the divine body. Qian Rinxue's current body was the divine body. It had reached a bottleneck, because no matter how strong it was, The energy requirements and genetic secret calculations involved could not be analyzed even by the Holy Knowledge Vault. As a stellar-level celestial computer, it had already reached the highest level of technology in the Angel Nebula. In fact, Wang Feng knew the reason why it could not be analyzed, because it involved the will of the universe. Stellar level meant that this celestial computer could deduce the development of a galaxy by relying on the energy of the stars. But if one wanted to analyze the will of the universe, unless one could analyze the development of the entire universe, otherwise, it would be difficult to analyze the power of the will of the universe. However, Wang Feng's primordial origin was different. His primordial origin could now analyze the will of the universe. If one had to make an analogy, the primordial origin was at least 2 levels higher than the Holy Knowledge Vault. It was a true universe-level celestial computer. As long as Wang Feng was given enough time and energy, Wang Feng could even analyze the development of the universe where Qianrenxue was located. It included the development, change, and destruction of any civilization in the universe. It was so detailed that even the simplest collision of meteorites in the universe could deduce the specific time and location. Therefore, Wang Feng was using it to analyze the supergenetic secret of the Angel Nebula, like using an anti-aircraft gun to kill a mosquito. He did not know how simple it was. In less than 100 breaths, Wang Feng suddenly pointed his finger at the void. Angel Yu's body immediately trembled and changed. Every inch of her body seemed to be undergoing a baptism. Transformation, rebirth. It was as if the deep genetic code had been opened. An incomparable light enveloped her. This is the 4th generation divine body? No, it hasn't reached the peak of the 3rd generation divine body. Qianrenxue was slightly stunned. He looked at Wang Feng in disbelief as if he had seen a ghost. Chapter 1705. Qianrenxue felt as if the thousands of years she spent in the Angel Nebula had been in vain. She felt as if she was dreaming. At present, only she and the other 2 kings of the Angel Nebula could reach the 4th generation of the divine body. It would take thousands of years for the rest of the angel warriors to reach this level, unlock the genetic code, and equip themselves with a more powerful biological engine. The mysteries of genes were too broad, and different civilizations had different ways of unlocking them in names. But no matter what, Angel Yu was her follower angel. She was not a real guardian angel. Even among the real guardian angels, there were very few who had the 3rd generation of the divine body. As for the follower angels, Angel Yu only had the 2nd generation of the divine body. To upgrade her to the 3rd generation of the divine body, apart from her lack of genetic aptitude, it was very difficult to upgrade her to the 3rd generation of the divine body. It also required a specific opportunity, because not everyone could upgrade their divine body. This had an inseparable relationship with the angels themselves, and it was almost impossible for someone like Wang Feng to easily upgrade a 2nd generation of the divine body to the peak of the 3rd generation of the divine body, and even be only 1 step away from the 4th generation of the divine body. As a divine body, Qianrenxue's body was stronger than a normal 4th generation of the divine body. It was impossible for her to do it, because the gap was too big. You can't possibly know the divine body technology of our universe. Qianrenxue looked at Wang Feng with a complicated expression. Then, she looked at the little angel who was now in a daze. I can know if I want to, Wang Feng said. I can even analyze the technology of the 4th generation of the divine body. But it will take a little time, and this little angel may not be able to withstand such a big change. Qianrenxue was speechless. For some reason, Qianrenxue suddenly felt a sense of helplessness in her heart. It was as if her countless years of hard work had been in vain. She had worked hard for thousands of years in the angel civilization to reach this level. But for this man, it might only take a little time. If you give me a little more time, I can even help you upgrade your divine body. Wang Feng chuckled. Impossible. Qianrenxue frowned. The divine body is already the most powerful in the known universe. They are truly immortal and indestructible. Qianrenxue was right. A divine body of her level was invincible even in the dark devil world. Of course, it was also possible that the magical machine civilization of the dark demon world had mixed in with the divine body technology of their universe. Back then, Yin Qingjue had interacted with Holy Kaisha. That was why the magical machine civilization of the dark demon world was not weak. Those demon gods who were equipped with the most powerful god-slaying engines were, to a certain extent, similar to Qian Renshua, the angel kings whose divine bodies were equipped with sub-biological engines. However, in comparison, the demon god was slightly weaker, because that's in your known universe. Wang Feng shook his head. Qian Renshua remained silent. In your universe's military, the strongest weapon is called the Void Engine. It was developed by researching a special dark element called void matter. But little Snow, do you know that in this universe, there are illusory creatures? Wang Feng smiled faintly. It's a special creature from the dark plane of the dark devil world. These creatures are beyond normal power, and even the demon gods cannot kill them. In your universe, there's a Carl. He should be specialized in this kind of research. He defines it as the ultimate void. Wang Feng took 2 steps forward, looked at the confused little angel, and continued. Your angel civilization does not recognize these void creatures, but they do exist, because they come from the combination of creatures of a higher level after death. They are related to the souls of universe-level creatures. Your universe has never been born before, so you cannot understand this level, unless you transcend your own universe. But this was very difficult. Qian Renshue remained silent, because Wang Feng was right. In my ancestral realm, I pulled these illusory creatures into my ancestral realm in order to destroy them. In order to establish the reincarnation cycle of the ancestral realm, I trapped them in another space of the ancestral realm. If you don't believe me, you can come with me and take a look. Wang Feng could not deal with these illusory creatures back then, so he temporarily settled them down after pulling them into the ancestral realm. And now, among the 7 origins of the origin tribulation godly king, there is an illusory origin. Wang Feng's tone was a little emotional. This origin is the essence of the void power that the origin tribulation godly king comprehended back then. So, after saying so much, Qian Renshua said faintly, "Are you trying to tell me that my efforts from a few years ago are not worth mentioning to you?" "Of course not." Wang Feng turned around and hugged Qian Renshua's slender waist. "I want to tell you that I can help your angel civilization become stronger, even transcend your universe. Similarly, I need your angel civilization's faith. It will be the foundation to start rebuilding the chaos world. Similarly, I want to tell you that I, Wang Feng, am worthy of you, the heaven cultivation monarch of the angel civilization." When Qian Renshua heard this, all the emotions in her heart immediately disappeared, and instead, she felt sweet. She sighed in her heart, knowing that she could not resist this bastard. In the light-dark universe alliance you established, how many angels are equipped with the super military power of the sub-biological engine? Wang Feng asked. The Void Engine was known as the sub-biological engine in the angel civilization. This thing was very high-end. It could be a program to carry weapons or a program to carry life. It was mainly used for various data analysis in battle. The most powerful ability was that it only needed material calculation to rewrite matter and rewrite the essence of life's cognition. It was already at the level of high-dimensional life in the universe. It was like God. God said that there must be light, so there was light. It was like those immortals and immortal emperors in the Xinxiao world. They could easily turn a pile of feces into a real plate of fragrant roast chicken through immortal spells. They could really turn a stone into gold. It was similar to the most basic material change of the sub-biological engine. Moreover, it was a real change, not a simple transformation technique. When this kind of weapon was used in battle, it could be said that the battle was very exciting. For example, when fighting with a cultivator, the opponent's magic treasure immortal sword was too powerful. They could directly activate the Void Engine, enter the Void Plane, perform high-dimensional calculation analysis, and then import the immortal sword magic treasure data, confirm the change method, and define scrap iron. They could directly turn these immortal sword magic treasures into a pile of scrap iron. This was the top battle of the angel civilization. It was actually very terrifying. In theory, as long as they had enough energy to start the engine and enough knowledge to analyze, they were basically invincible in their universe. Of course, to rewrite a special engine at the level of the immortal sword magic treasure, they needed to have a special genetic program. Wang Feng knew that in that universe, those with this kind of genetic potential were called the Milky Way power. Ordinary warriors equipped with the sub-biological engine would definitely not be able to do that, but they would definitely be able to compete with the demon gods of the dark demon realm. They might not necessarily win, but it would not be that easy to lose. Qian Rinxue frowned slightly and replied, "Currently, there are a total of 10 angel warriors equipped with the sub-biological engine." 10. Wang Feng pondered for a moment. "I can increase this number by 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times." Qian Rinxue's eyes widened. Chapter 1706. In the era of Holy Keisha, after studying void matter for so many years, she had only succeeded in equipping the third or fourth order biological engine of the angel warriors. I can use the primordial origin to quickly develop a void engine. Through the illusory origin, I can obtain endless void matter. Wang Feng said casually, "As long as I can evolve all of your angel warriors into a fourth-generation divine body and equip them with the most powerful void engine to fight." This was Wang Feng's current basic strength. His primordial origin was countless times stronger than the Milky Way force. As the origin model to analyze everything, even the will of the universe could be analyzed. To him, the angel civilization in the universe where Qian Rinxue was located was no longer considered high level. The laws of the low-dimensional universe itself were not complicated. So, Wang Feng pointed at Angel Yu. "I just said that this is just a greeting gift." Qian Rinxue suddenly understood. Yes, if this was not a greeting gift, what was it? Only then did Angel Yu react in a daze. It seems that my divine body has been upgraded? My divine body has been upgraded. This was a treatment and honor that only the angel guards by the king's side had. Had it been done so easily? Immediately, the way Angel Yu looked at Wang Feng changed drastically. From confusion to shock, to disbelief, and finally to excitement and fanaticism. Qian Rinxue felt that something was wrong. At first, the little angels would only reveal this kind of expression to her. How long has it been? This child has only woken up for a few minutes, and even his faith has changed. King Tianxiu, don't care about my face. He changed so quickly. Damn it. Qian Rinxue glared at Wang Feng angrily. I knew this guy was up to no good. Even our angel civilization is so simple to you, Qian Rinxue said faintly. It's actually very complicated. It took me a lot of time and a lot of divine power. Wang Feng pinched his fingers and calculated. It's almost a day. Qian Rinxue was so angry that he pinched Wang Feng's waist fiercely. His smug look really deserved a beating. Although Wang Feng did not feel pain, in order to cater to Qian Rinxue, he still pretended to be in pain and cried out. This made Qian Rinxue's cheeks feel slightly better. This is where the fun between men and women lies. King, what should I call him in the future? At this moment, Angel Yu carefully asked. Qian Rinxue let go and snorted. Yes, what should Angel call this guy? He can't become the king of the Angel Nebula. This is not appropriate. For a moment, Qian Rinxue couldn't think of a suitable name. Isn't that simple? Wang Feng glanced at the throne and said calmly, Let's call him Your Majesty. Rinxue, Qian Rinxue murmured. She seemed to have thought of something, and her face immediately turned red. Rinxue, Qian Tianxiu, King Tianxiu. Qian, however, when she thought about how she had just ascended to the peak of the third-generation divine physique, the disrespect in her heart immediately disappeared. It's actually quite appropriate. At this moment, a clear and cold voice suddenly rang out from the other end of the room. Then, King, are you free now? Your primary soul in the dark demon realm still lacks a physical body. How do you plan to condense it? You can't condense the three souls. You haven't mastered this ability yet. How can you create more doppelgangers to play without mastering it? Don't you think so? This voice was Bibidon's voice. Far away in the air, a graceful figure watched indifferently. Qian Rinxue's expression changed. She subconsciously pushed away Wang Feng, who was hugging her intimately. It was as if she didn't want others to know that she was acting like a little girl. How dare you? Who are you? How dare you speak to Rinxue like this? Angel Yu, the little angel, had just become Wang Feng's fan. She immediately put on a protective posture. This was the good thing about the angel civilization. Faith would not change easily, unless it was given too much. Of course, the prerequisite was that he had to be King Tianxue's man. Oh, Bibidon glanced at this little angel and looked at Wang Feng with a faint smile. It hasn't been long. Little Shui, have your subordinates already betrayed you? Qian Rinxue frowned slightly. I didn't betray you. Angel Yu retorted with a sullen face. Our king has already become his guardian angel. He is the king of our angel nebula. Moreover, don't be so disrespectful just because you and King Tianxue are comrades who have just fought together. Little Yu, King Tianxue called out Angel Yu and then shook his head, indicating that she didn't need to speak anymore. King, who is she? Angel Yu asked softly. Don't ask too much. Qian Rinxue said expressionlessly. Wang Feng was also embarrassed. Actually, in terms of their current blood relationship, Qian Rinxue wasn't Bibidon's daughter. After all, Qian Rinxue was reincarnated in the past. However, the soul couldn't be changed. What, little Shui, are you not going to acknowledge me as your mother? Bibidon glanced at Qian Rinxue with a faint smile. Fine, you've already reincarnated into a powerhouse in another universe. Indeed, you don't have much to do with me. Mother? Angel Yu was instantly dumbfounded. King Tianxue had never heard of a mother. Life forms like angels didn't need to reproduce like ordinary humans to give birth to offspring. They had their own unique reproduction system. Therefore, to angels, abstinence was a very simple and unburdensome thing. I don't. Qian Rinxue shook his head lightly. Bibidon landed and said, It doesn't matter if you acknowledge me or not. I'm only here to remind this king beside you. There's no hurry with the primary soul. Wang Feng said subconsciously. Dong, since you're here, why don't you take a look at the ancestral realm? You can also give me some advice, What did you call me? Bibidon's eyes flashed. King of the Angel Nebula, pay attention to your words. The king beside you was once my daughter. It was as if he saw through Wang Feng's thoughts. Angel Yu saw that King Tianxue didn't refute, which meant it was true. In other words, this woman was the king's mother in her previous life. Wang Feng said, Then what should I call you? You know very well what I'm calling you. Bibidon snorted coldly. The king's mother. Then can I call you Queen Mother? Wang Feng chuckled. Bibidon immediately glared at Wang Feng coldly. Qian Rinxue also looked at Wang Feng with a reproachful expression. Angel Yu reminded him from the side. According to the relationship between human clans, you should call the king's mother-in-law. Your son-in-law. My angel nebula civilization also used this method. She seemed to think that Wang Feng didn't know. Oh, Wang Feng had a look of realization. He looked at Wang Feng and said, Mother-in-law, then can you stay in this son-in-law's ancestral realm for a few days? You and your mother haven't seen each other for thousands of years. You can also catch up, he said it in a serious manner. There was nothing wrong with it at all. Angel Yu felt that it was normal. However, Bibidon looked at Wang Feng with an embarrassed expression. She said with embarrassment, Wang Wu, I'm talking about serious matters with you. Put away those dirty thoughts in your heart. Also, don't call me Ma. Mother-in-law, you know very well what you should call me. These two words seemed to make Bibidon a little embarrassed. Angel Yu was confused again. Who was Wang Wu? King Tianxue's man was called Wang Feng. She looked at Qian Rinxue and asked softly, King, who is this Wang Wu that your mother is talking about? Qian Rinxue's face was also a little hot. He glared at Wang Feng and said angrily, I don't know. Seemingly sensing that King Tianxue was angry, Angel Yu immediately didn't dare to ask. Wang Wu is a friend of mine, Wang Feng said with a smile. He is my mother-in-law's man. Oh, saying that, Wang Feng looked at Qian Rinxue with a funny face and said, he is also your king's father in name. Qian Rinxue's face was not only hot, but his eyes were also filled with shame and anger. However, he couldn't say anything. On the other side, Bibidan's heart was filled with shame and anger. There was also an indescribable feeling. Angel Yu had a look of realization. Oh, I see. Then why did she call you Wang Wu? Angel Yu was like a curious baby. Because I look very similar to my friend Wang Wu. Wang Feng sighed and said, this Wang Wu is not a good thing. Not only did he provoke my mother-in-law, but he also provoked other women. When my mother-in-law saw me, she thought of that Wang Wu. Naturally, she was very angry. Subconsciously, she thought I was him and scolded me fiercely. Angel Yu immediately understood. She looked at Wang Feng with a sad face. King, you are really wronged. It's okay. As long as my mother-in-law can vent her anger, this little grievance is nothing. Wang Feng waved his hand with a magnanimous look. Angel Yu immediately sighed in her heart. King is really a good man. On the other hand, Bibidan was so angry that her teeth itched. But all the good and bad words were said by this bastard. She actually didn't know what to say. She was angry and amused at the same time. End of this chapter. Chapter 1707. That's enough, Qian Rinxue whispered in Wang Feng's ear. She actually knew why Bibidan appeared now. The reason was very simple. She wanted to ruin the tender time between the two of them. Qian Rinxue felt that from a woman's point of view, she might know more about her mother than she imagined. She was not the kind of woman who was magnanimous, especially with the complicated relationship between the two of them. Could it be that you really want me to leave now? Wang Feng replied. Qian Rinxue opened her mouth. Of course, she didn't want to. The two of them were just at the peak of their affection. Those mortals would easily spend a month on their honeymoon. How long had it been? Not even 2 days. Important matters. Qian Rinxue thought for a moment and said helplessly. Speaking of important matters, Qian Rinxue's angelic source core was obviously more important. However, if Wang Feng didn't want it, Qian Rinxue wouldn't give it to him. Actually, she came here for other matters. She didn't just urge me to return to the dark demon realm. Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh softly. You may think that your mother doesn't want us to stay together for a long time and wants to ruin our current atmosphere. In fact, she's not as narrow-minded as you think. You've spent thousands of years there, but she's actually spent many years in the dark demon realm. Qian Rinxue was silent for a moment. Then why? Qian Rinxue glanced at Bibidan. In a trance, she really did feel that she was a lot more unfamiliar. Yes, then why did she urge Wang Feng to return to the dark demon realm? Idiot. Wang Feng sighed. Of course it's you. She wants to talk to you alone. You have to know that besides me, you're her only relative in this universe. Hearing this, Qian Rinxue's whole body shook. A sour feeling suddenly welled up in her heart. How could she forget this? You're back. She might be happier than I am to see you. You're her only daughter. As Wang Feng transmitted his voice, he said to Bibidan, who was in midair, All right, then I'll follow mother-in-law's words. I'll return to the dark devil realm first. Will that do? Then Wang Feng said to the little angel, Little girl, go to the ancestral realm and find some guys for me. Tell them to come see me. Angel Yushin glanced at Qian Rinxue. When Qian Rinxue nodded her head, she then eagerly followed Wang Feng. Wang Feng left with Angel Yu. Only Qian Rinxue and Bibidan were left on the throne. She knows you better than I do, Qian Rinxue said with a complicated look in his eyes. You should be more important to her than I am. Bibidan was taken aback for a moment before he burst into laughter. Silly child, you've already become the ruler of a civilization. How could he still have such thoughts? He does know me. You're the closest person to me apart from him. But in this world, he's the one who knows me the best. Even after so many years, he could still easily see through my disguise in the dark devil realm. But that doesn't mean anything. Bibidan descended from midair. Bibidan had already returned to her appearance in the god realm. She was wearing a long black dress, and her hair was tied up in a bun. She had a graceful and noble temperament. The black color added a bit of coldness and loneliness to her, making her look like a goddess walking in the darkness. Compared to Qian Rinxue, who was emitting light, they gave off a completely different feeling. When the two stood together, they looked more like sisters. In any case, that's what I think. Qian Rinxue's tone was as arrogant as ever. Bibidon shook her head slightly. In his heart, the most important thing isn't me. It's us. Forget it. There's no point in talking to you about this. He left, so I want to talk to you alone. Qian Rinxue nodded slightly. The two women sat opposite each other and talked about their experiences. When the ancestral realm was first born, there was no distinction between sun and moon. In the universe, the ancestral realm wasn't just a planet. After all, the ancestral realm didn't have Pangu's body transforming into heaven and earth. There were no rules. It was just a chaotic world that Wang Feng simply split open with Pangu's axe and evolved. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that he wanted to rebuild this former chaotic world. There was no distinction between sun and moon. Time was a straight line. The two talked for an unknown amount of time. Bibidon and Qian Rinxue talked about everything that happened in the Dark Devil realm. Qian Rinxue talked about the universe where she was in the angel sector and how she had gone through countless battles to reach her current position. No matter how detailed she was, the story was actually very long. Now, do you still want to stick to your original idea? Bibidon suddenly asked. Qian Rinxue fell silent. Now, she only wanted to be with Wang Feng. As for her original insistence, she didn't want to be Wang Feng's little woman. It never changed. Qian Rinxue thought seriously for a moment. I'm no longer the Qian Rinxue of the past. Even if I wanted to, I can't be Wang Feng's little woman. I think Ning Rongrong is enough for that kind of little woman. I'm Qian Rinxue, but I'm also the Heaven Cultivation Monarch. I have even more responsibilities on my shoulders now. I can't just be by Wang Feng's side. Bibidon smiled. Her smile was meaningful. Qian Rinxue didn't quite understand. You're my daughter. I'm very proud. Bibidon walked over and gently hugged Qian Rinxue. But I know that you actually want to be with him more, right? But you understand your current situation and identity. You've grown too much in the past few thousand years. Qian Rinxue felt a faint joy in her heart. This kind of praise was nothing to her. What about you? Qian Rinxue asked in a low voice. You're not by his side. Bibidon blinked. Of course there has to be someone by his side. Otherwise, what if there are more and more women by his side? Qian Rinxue frowned slightly, feeling that something was wrong. So, as your mother, Bibidon smiled. I have the obligation to look after him for you. From now on, Qian Rinxue was speechless. She was careless. She was fooled. Qian Rinxue's brain suddenly reacted. The older, the wiser. So you'll always be by his side? Qian Rinxue gritted her teeth and said, Yes, I'll look after him for you. What a cunning woman. Qian Rinxue looked at Bibidon angrily. After saying so much, she just wanted to make a big deal out of it. Look after him for me. Qian Rinxue did not believe a single word of this nonsense. Qian Rinxue gritted her teeth and thought for a while. She seemed to have thought of something. He's now the king of the Angel Nebula, and he said that he could help the Angel Nebula become stronger. And I've become his guardian angel, which means that I can always be by his side. After saying that, Qian Rinxue looked at Bibidon. You didn't expect this, did you? You really believe it? Bibidon suddenly said, looking at Qian Rinxue with a funny face. Child, do you think that he's growing so fast that you'll be left far behind if you stay by his side? Bibidon looked at the ancestral realm. Qian Rinxue was stunned, then fell silent. That was indeed the case. However, Bibidon looked at this world. This place will be his main battlefield in the future. It's his future. With his current strength, we don't need to be by his side all the time. Because as long as he wants, he can see us at any time, or even at the same time. Little Shui, I've said so much because I want to tell you. Bibidon looked at Qian Rinxue seriously. Don't treat me as an enemy. You have many enemies. For example, the Snow Empress from before. Your hostility towards me is too strong. Even when I came here to talk to you, You thought that I wanted to ruin the warm atmosphere between the two of you. Qian Renxue blushed slightly. A mother knows her daughter best. Is it that exaggerated? Qian Renxue asked. It's not just the Snow Empress. Bibi Don sighed softly. The Snow Empress is actually all right. I've talked to her before. She's originally an innate life form of the Douluo world. Her heart is pure and her character is simple. She doesn't have any desire to fight. However, Shiyu from the God Realm and the Yama Lord from the Dark Demon Realm. I'm sure he's told you about them. Qian Renxue nodded. Of course he had. These two are not simple. Bibi Don narrowed his eyes. If Wang Feng had told you, you should know. Wang Feng can't be where he is now without the help of these two. In other words, without the help of these two, Wang Feng wouldn't be where he is now. He wouldn't even have met us. Do you know about the multiverse? Bibi Don asked. Yes, Qian Renxue said. The Yama Lord is the Dark Demon Realm's genesis, divine source, where the heavenly axiom is. She once traveled the heavens. Of course, she used a relatively ordinary identity and didn't participate in any of the battles and changes in the heavens. And the universe we're in, to a certain extent, is just one of the countless timelines in the multiverse. Bibidon's eyes flashed with a strange light. Do you know in the multiverse, in another timeline without Wang Feng, what happened to us? Bibi Don said lightly. Qian Renxue was slightly shocked. The Yama Lord once told me that she knows everything. She knows Wang Feng's origin. Can you guess? Qian Renxue hesitated for a moment. Thinking back, if there was no Wang Feng, Mother would have plunged the entire Douluo world into darkness, right? No, at that time, there was another person in the Douluo world who was very special, that Tang San. He and Mother were mortal enemies, but he could become a divine king with 2 divine positions. Now he's #1 in the divine realm. His potential was needless to say. I'm afraid I'll die, Bibi Dong said calmly. Yinluo said that I'll die in another timeline that doesn't exist. You won't die, but you'll never become an angel or god. Your divine spark will be destroyed, and you'll end up alone for the rest of your life because of love. The continent will still be in constant battles, and it will be difficult to unify. Qian Renxue was shocked. She had never expected this outcome. Is it so exaggerated? Mother will die? Who killed her? That's right, with Mother's state at that time, she will definitely fall into the extreme evil side and will do a lot of outrageous things. No one can save her. However, what Qian Renxue didn't expect was that she didn't even have a godhead. Living alone for the rest of her life because of love? That's hilarious. How is this possible? Qian Renxue felt that it was impossible to look at the past with the eyes of someone who had been there before. But Bibi Don naturally wouldn't lie to her. Now Wang Feng's appearance has changed everything, so everything in that timeline will no longer exist. Bibi Don sighed softly. So, in a sense, without him, there wouldn't be the current me, and there wouldn't be the current you. You think that everything you have now is the result of your thousands of years of hard work in the Angel Nebula. But have you ever thought that if there was no Wang Feng, you wouldn't even have any chance to be reincarnated into the Angel Nebula? You don't want to rely on him, but everything is destined. Bibidon's last sentence was a little ethereal. It made Qian Renxue a little absent-minded again. The source of all this, the long-dead Origin Tribulation deity king, is Yin Lord and Shiyu. Together, they created Wang Feng, and Wang Feng changed everything for us. Bibi Don said slowly. So, do you know what Yin Lord and Shiyu mean to Wang Feng? Their relationship isn't purely a cooperative relationship. The palm landed on Chen Wuji's neck. The man in black stared at Chen Wuji, waiting for the latter to pass out. 1, 2, 3, 10, The man in black was stunned. Why hasn't he fainted yet? Since you want me to help you, why did you hit me? Chen Wuji twisted his neck, making a cracking sound. A demonic light flashed in his eyes. In an instant, the man in black felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave, extremely cold. He almost wanted to turn around and flee. Why are you running? Chen Wuji lightly struck out with his palm. It looked soft, but he had used the chaos of heaven and earth, one of the 7 evil martial arts recorded in the Great Compassion poem. The seemingly soft palm contained a terrifying explosive force. The vital energy it contained could easily corrode, destroy, and soften a person's meridians and internal organs, causing them to quickly lose their ability to fight and even their vital energy. The man in black was sent flying dozens of meters away, crashing into the wall of the main hall. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his heart filled with horror. Such a palm could injure him so badly. Moreover, his opponent's demonic art was so strange that he couldn't recognize him at all. To be able to do this, he must be the top demonic master of the heavenly demon cult. If his opponent wasn't a man and wasn't wearing red, he would have suspected that he was the demon cult's patriarch Dongfang. However, he didn't have time to think. He could only force his vital energy to leap out of the window. With his superb qigong, he disappeared from sight in an instant. Qin Wuji didn't give chase because his opponent was either dead or crippled. He had held back because he hadn't really cultivated the 7 martial arts recorded in the Great Compassion poem. He had only skimmed through the Great Compassion poem in the martial arts pavilion. When I came in, I heard the man in black say that he was looking for a secret passage. Qin Wuji's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that there was a special place in the heavenly demon palace where he hadn't checked in? He couldn't let that go. With that thought in mind, Qin Wuji immediately started searching. The man in black had basically searched the entire main hall. He didn't find it. Qin Wuji looked around, but he didn't find it either. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly found a very special piece of green cloth under a lantern in the upper left corner of the main hall. It seemed to have been scraped off. There was a lot of dust on it, so it was usually hard to find. There's a mechanism here. Qin Wuji had a hunch. Sure enough, after knocking here and there, he finally triggered a mechanism somewhere. It was an underground secret passage. Qin Wuji was delighted and immediately walked in. The passage seemed to have not been repaired for many years, and it was extremely smoky. Interestingly, Wang Feng saw footprints on the ground. That meant that someone might have been here. Qin Wuji activated his body movement technique and walked into the tunnel step by step, leaving no trace behind. If one looked carefully, Qin Wuji's feet were almost off the ground. He walked unhurriedly for about an hour. He smelled a delicate fragrance. It seems that the person who came in is a woman. Qin Wuji thought to himself. Moreover, it should be close. Suddenly, Qin Wuji stopped in his tracks. The passage came to an end. There was a door. The door was open, and there was a slight movement inside. It seemed to be the sound of someone cultivating some kind of secret technique. It was the sound of a sword. Someone was cultivating some kind of sword technique. Could it be the solitary 9 swords? Qin Wuji couldn't help but tease in his heart. End of chapter. Chapter 1708. They had been his underling for so many years. Of course, Wang Feng couldn't treat them casually. He'd already thought of a plan, not to mention that he'd nurtured them. Well, he hadn't nurtured them at all. However, the potential of these guys was definitely top-notch. Becoming a saint was just a saying. If he really wanted to say it, Wang Feng would have to let them cultivate to the level of the dragon god, and then surpass it. Qingqing blinked. She could understand what Wang Feng wanted to say. You want to give this to us? Qingqing pointed at the chaos lotus in Wang Feng's palm. Wang Feng nodded. The chaos lotus could transform into at least a dozen types of true treasures. When he became a universe-level life form and grasped the will of the universe, the chaos lotus would be less useful to him. On the contrary, if he could transform it into many innate true treasures and give them to Qingqing and the others, they would have a qualitative leap. As the first batch of innate life forms in the ancestral realm, they had to be strong enough and have great potential. Only then could they go further in the future. What about yourself? Qingqing asked. Of course I don't need it, Wang Feng said with a smile. How can that be? Qingqing looked at Wang Feng with concern. That's right. Boss, we didn't help you at all. Now you're giving us your most important true treasure. Forgive me for not agreeing. I don't want it. Odana Sukasa's voice came from afar. It had only been a few months since they last met in the God Realm, but only a few hundred years in the Douluo world. Odana Sukis hadn't changed much. His tone was still familiar. His partner, the Blackwater crocodile, was beside him. The others, such as Shun Bing, Iron Fox, Cowardly Kuan, Shui Jiao, and Whale Shark were also here. You can't help me now. Wang Feng smiled. But as long as I give you this item, you will be able to help me. This world needs more powerful life forms to be born continuously, to enrich this world and make it stronger. Wang Feng wasn't lying. Once they were enlightened by Wang Feng and became innate life forms in the ancestral realm, they would receive the innate true treasure transformed from the Chaos Lotus. Their potential was limitless. It wasn't just a beast. There was also Long Xie and Lin Lord of the Ice Empress. Moreover, as her master grows stronger, this item's effect on me will slowly decrease. Wang Feng glanced at them. I'm giving it to you in the hope that you can continue to use its power. The lackeys fell silent. Wang Feng's attitude was very clear. This was his decision. I'm just informing you of my decision now. When I condense this item with the divine power of faith in the future, you must all be prepared. Wang Feng said solemnly. This will be quick. Because of the Qian Rinxue, with his identity as the Angel Nebula King, the first wave of divine power of faith would soon condense from the universe where the Angel Nebula was located. As long as Wang Feng made a trip there, it would be enough. Next, Wang Feng and his subordinates continued to talk about what had happened in the past few years. Odontasuchus and the Blackwater crocodile also had their own children. However, this guy Odontasuchus was very casual. He directly threw his son into the Douluo world and glorified it as, let his son experience his own beast life, as long as his life wasn't in danger. In fact, it was obvious that these two guys didn't want to discipline him. Shun Bing was still alone. He yearned for greater power and continued to cultivate tirelessly. Her strength was at the top among them. The Cowardly Kuan and the Whale Shark were a pair. After giving birth to the little Kuan shark, they gave the little Kuan shark a sister. However, just like Odysseus' son, they were all placed in the Douluo world for their own experience. The little Kuan shark became Wang Feng's soul-bonded beast and was trained for a while. Later, after entering the divine realm, it cultivated with Long Xie in the divine realm. Now its strength might have surpassed the Cowardly Kuan and the Whale Shark. The Iron Fox and Shun Bing were the same. They were motivated to become stronger soul beasts. Unlike looking for a partner, they both thought that it would delay their cultivation. For this, Wang Feng wanted to refute, but after thinking about it, he felt that it actually made sense. So he didn't ask much. As for the blood dragon, this child's upper limit was actually not high. He was more straightforward, but he belonged to the kind of stupid children who had stupid luck. When Wang Feng left the Douluo world, the Martial Spirit Federation of the Douluo world and the Sun Moon Empire of another continent joined forces with soul beasts and formed a huge human soul beast army with soul charmers as the main force. They fought a long war with the soul demons that invaded the Douluo world. In the end, they won. Because Wang Feng went to the divine realm and the dark demon realm, he obstructed the dark demon realm's plan for the divine war. In addition, this war was only an act by Yin Qingjue and Shiyu. There was no follow-up. Those soul demons that invaded the dark demon realm naturally couldn't destroy the Douluo world at that time. Unfortunately, the blood dragon was seriously injured in a battle with the soul demons in one of the wars. At that time, Qing Qing and the others were on another battlefield. Just as he was about to die, he was hit in the head by the energy beam of the Sun Moon Empire's Special Class 11 Soul Cannon. Strangely, not only did the blood dragon not die, his head underwent a huge change because of this super powerful soul cannon. His spiritual power increased, and he even condensed a special spiritual soul. Although his physical body was destroyed, his soul didn't disappear. Instead, it became very strong. When Qing Qing and the others found out, they couldn't understand. Later, they found out. It turned out that the blood dragon was seriously injured because of the soul demon's secret soul technique. He even swallowed the memory cores of several soul demons. How could the blood dragon know that the memory cores were the secrets of the soul demon's souls and contained a huge amount of soul energy? However, his spiritual power wasn't enough to support so many memory cores coexisting. So his soul almost exploded at that time, and he almost lost himself. In the end, that energy cannon just happened to destroy all the memory cores, turning them into countless soul energy that was directly swallowed by the blood dragon soul. Therefore, his physical body disappeared, but his soul became stronger. He became a true spirit that was immortal and indestructible. When Wang Feng heard this, he also felt that this guy was really lucky. Although the soul demons that invaded the Douluo world were the cannon fodder of the dark demon realm, most of them were the kind of soul demons that couldn't be ranked. But for the Douluo world at that time, they were the top. After swallowing so much soul energy, the blood dragon could easily cross the threshold of the divine realm and become an existence that surpassed a million-year soul beast in the true sense. Even if he was a spirit, it was very simple for him to condense a physical body. If that Class 11 soul cannon didn't happen to hit him, he probably wouldn't be standing here now. If you want to say how diligent he is, he's not diligent at all. Qing glanced at the blood dragon angrily. Shun Bing and Tai, who live like ascetic monks cultivating every day, but in the end, they can't even compare to him casually cultivating every day and leisurely. Chapter 1709. Shui Jiao laughed. Actually, I can't beat Brother Bing and Brother Tai, but I feel that my cultivation speed is very slow. Shun Bing and Tai, whose mouths twitched when they heard this. These two sentences had nothing to do with each other, so they were a little unhappy when they heard it. Wang Feng laughed out loud. No matter what, these guys had their own encounters. After that, Wang Feng had a simple discussion about the ancestral realm with them before he left. Of course, Wang Feng didn't go to the Dark Devil realm. Before the three souls fused, Wang Feng had to meet the Snow Empress. He returned to the Douluo world and breathed in its air. The rich energy made Wang Feng feel that this place would soon become another god realm. Of course, the prerequisite was that the heavenly Tao had to exist and a god king had to be born. It hasn't been long since I left. I don't know how developed this world is. How developed are the soul charters now? Wang Fengxin was a little excited. It was as if he had planted a seed 10 years ago. 10 years later, when he came back to take a look, his heart was filled with anticipation, curiosity, and excitement. Of course, Wang Feng had to go to the extreme north first to find the Snow Empress. Looking down at the human cities from mid-air, Wang Feng felt like he had returned to his previous life. That was because the Sun Moon Empire had merged with the Martial Soul Alliance during that war. Soul Tool technology had truly become the Alliance's technology tree. Wang Feng was comforted by the fact that he saw countless soul beasts appearing in various human cities. There were many of them, and they came in all sizes. Many soul beasts could even be seen in the air, carrying soul masters as they roamed around. In my statue, Wang Feng took a deep breath. He didn't notice it when he returned to the Douluo world for the first time. A considerable amount of divine power of faith was gathered on the statues. Over the past few hundred years, countless soul charters had believed in this profession. They believed in him, the founder of soul charters. Back then, because of this faith, I was able to condense my first divine ring in the divine world. Now, the divine power of faith in this world can be replenished continuously. As long as I can use it, it will become the first batch of nourishment for the ancestral realm. The group of void life forms that are still floating in the sea of bitterness in the reincarnation space of the ancestral realm will be cleansed by my illusory origin into pure, innate souls. Through the reincarnation system of the ancestral realm, they will be born into the ancestral realm, Wang Feng's side, emotionally. Of course, the power of faith was not enough. It could only be used as a startup capital to rebuild the primordial world. However, with the development of the Douluo world, this divine power of faith would not be cut off. As more and more lives appeared in the Douluo world, and as more and more soul charmers spread, more and more faith would be produced. He thought as he watched. Wang Feng arrived in the air above the northernmost land. A gigantic dragon-shaped soul beast suddenly flew over from his side. Wang Feng could tell at a glance that this soul beast was a new type of soul beast that had never appeared in his memory. However, it wasn't a secret to Wang Feng that he hadn't appeared before. Double-winged ice dragon. Oh, it's even a mutated bloodline of the ice emperor lizard. It still has a trace of true dragon's might. His eyes flickered as he scanned the primordial origin. Almost immediately, he analyzed all the information of this powerful 100,000-year soul beast clearly. He even knew the birth time of this soul beast very clearly. On the icy dragon, there was an extraordinary white-clothed man. Behind him, there was a group of students who were chattering excitedly. Children, when you entered the school, your first soul beast choice was a water-type or ice-type soul beast. Today, I will bring you to the northernmost land. At the soul beast breeding base here, you can choose the soul beast that you like. The man turned around and smiled as he looked at the children who were discussing excitedly behind him. These children were only 6 years old. 6 years old. Wang Fengxin's heart moved slightly. 6 years old, in the original world, was usually just awakening their martial soul. Now, they were here to choose their first soul beast. However, the first soul beast was indeed very important. Looking at these children's faces, Wang Feng felt as if he had returned to the past. Soul renters were the ones who caused the world to undergo a tremendous change. If I have descendants, I must let them come to this world to gain experience. Wang Fengxin had such an idea. This was because Wang Feng realized that although the ancestral realm's potential was endless, the time it needed to develop was too long. However, the current Douluo world was perfect. It was indeed very suitable for humans to gain experience. Friend, you are alone without a soul beast by your side. Have you been flying in the air beside me for a while? At this moment, the middle-aged man suddenly looked at Wang Feng in the distance and said loudly, "Do you have something to tell me?" Wang Feng didn't deliberately hide himself. He had indeed been following beside and observing for a while. Seeing this, he couldn't help but smile. It's just a coincidence. I'm also going to the northernmost land. However, it's my first time seeing this soul beast beside you. I was quite curious and took a few more glances. The middle-aged man immediately controlled the icy dragon to fly over. He glanced at Wang Feng and felt that he was a little familiar. There was an inexplicable sense of familiarity in his heart. It was probably because this man's appearance made it hard for people to have a bad impression of him. Too handsome, I see. The middle-aged man suddenly said, "In that case, can we go together? These children behind me are only 6 years old. They haven't seen too many soul masters. Are you here to let them choose their first soul beast?" Wang Feng asked casually. Yes, they're 6 years old. Their martial souls have awakened, but most of their aptitudes are not very good. The middle-aged man sighed and said. Then his face became excited again. But with a life soul contract, these children with poor aptitudes still have a chance to become powerful soul masters. Wang Feng glanced at those children. 6 years old, and their innate soul power was only level 7 on average. Level 7 was actually not low in the Douluo world 10,000 years ago. But in today's world, level 7 aptitudes were already very low. Because now the innate full soul power was no longer level 10, but level 20. Energy changes, human evolution, and so on, all kinds of factors were changing. So, in this environment, level 7 innate soul power was very low. If it was before they had a life soul contract, they might only be ordinary soul masters. The middle-aged man said, "The ancestors of our bloodline helped many children awaken their soul power. But I feel that only my generation is the luckiest, because we can change their fate." He had a rueful expression. Wang Fengxin's heart moved and asked, "What's your name?" "Me?" The middle-aged man was stunned and replied, "Su Yunhai." Wang Feng asked, "Is the ancestor of your lineage called Su Yuntao? You also know of our lineage?" The middle-aged man looked at Wang Feng in surprise and nodded. Chapter 17:10. He didn't just know. Wang Fengxin asked. He hadn't expected to meet Su Yuntao's descendant here. But now, he was choosing soul-bonding beasts for children who had just awakened their martial souls. Speaking of which, My ancestors' most glorious achievement. Su Yunhai's face lit up with pride. He awakened the martial souls of several legendary figures on the continent. One of them was the ancestor who created the soul contract master, the one who single-handedly changed the entire Douluo world. Wang Feng was speechless. As soon as Su Yunhai finished speaking, a child behind him chirped, "Teacher Yunhai, don't brag. Your ancestor was at least 10,000 years old. But the ancestor who created the soul contract master was a peerless genius from several hundred years ago. Who knows how far you're from him?" Su Yunhai's proud expression immediately darkened. He turned around and glared at the naughty-looking child. Wang Feng thought to himself, "My many identities will remain a secret to this world. I made a fool of myself." Su Yunhai shook his head helplessly. These children nowadays are more clever than the last. Don't be fooled by their low ranks. But in this world, it's hard to say what they'll become. Even if they can't become soul masters, they can still switch to studying soul tools and develop in that direction. It's not like the past, where the majority of soul masters were stuck because of their low ranks. Wang Feng glanced at the children. Just as Su Yuntao had said, they didn't look depressed despite their low ranks. On the contrary, they were filled with anticipation for the future and a thirst for soul-bonding beasts. With more choices, these children naturally wouldn't lose their desire for the future just because of their low soul power rank. The world has changed a lot. Wang Fengxin sighed with emotion. We're about to arrive at the extreme North Soul Beast Cultivation Base. Su Yunhai suddenly shouted at the children behind him. Sit tight. We're about to land at the extreme North Soul Beast Cultivation Base. The extreme North only has one cultivation base for now. You're not the only ones who have come to choose soul-bonding beasts. There are also children from all over the Alliance who have just awakened their martial souls. Once we arrive, follow me closely. Don't get lost. The children responded with a grunt. Her face was flushed with excitement. It reminded Wang Feng of himself back then. Looking down from midair, one could see an oval-shaped cluster of buildings. The area it occupied could already be considered a small town. However, it was named after the base. There are 8 titled Dalu and 28 soul beasts that are over 100,000 years old. This kind of defensive power was very strong. It was clear that the Martial Soul Alliance placed great importance on the soul beast breeding base. This base is equivalent to an exchange base built by humans and soul beasts. Wang Fengxi nodded. But there's also a familiar aura. The interior of the base was very large, and all the basic facilities were available. The scale of the base itself was built according to the standards of a standard city. Inside, there's also a very neat room for soul beasts, specifically used to nurture newborn soul beasts born in the extreme north. There were also many training facilities for newborn soul beasts. It could be said that he had considered everything very thoroughly. Soul beasts were a huge group, and different groups of soul beasts had different cultures. The fact that humans could take this into consideration and respond accordingly to different soul beasts showed that the current structure of the Douluo world had completely changed. Wang Feng swept his gaze across. In midair, a group of soul masters guarding the base led Su Yuntao's icy dragon to the landing site. In the name of a visitor, Wang Feng followed the base to take a look. This base wasn't a military base. As long as one was a soul master recognized by the Martial Soul Alliance, one could enter the base for an exchange and promote the culture of soul charmers. They were mainly aimed at soul engineers from the Sun Moon Empire, which had been part of the Alliance for less than 100 years. The culture of soul charmers originated from the Martial Soul Alliance. Whether it was the war before or the subsequent developments, they were all started by the Martial Soul Alliance. Why did the Sun Moon Empire join the Martial Soul Alliance after the war with the Soul Demons? That was because soul charmers had played a crucial role in that war. At the same time, they had shown the Sun Moon Empire a new path, a path that was more suitable for this world than soul tool technology. Furthermore, they were no longer as strong as the Martial Soul Alliance. After many negotiations, they finally chose to join the Martial Soul Alliance. As he toured the interior of the base, Wang Feng suddenly thought of the time when the Snow Empress woke up. She should have visited this base before, right? She would only know how much this world had changed after seeing this base. How many times have I told all of you? The Ice Fire Flower is an Ice-type soul beast, not a Fire-type soul beast. Look, it doesn't have any Fire-type energy. They arrived at a beast breeding ground. There were professionals in this beast breeding ground. They were targeting many young soul beasts and explaining the characteristics of young soul beasts to the children who had chosen their first soul beast. They also explained the things that they needed to take note of when nurturing them, as well as carried out simple soul beast introductions. Nowadays, soul renters weren't easy to find. Soul beasts were too complicated. Even the most common type of soul beast had many different branches, and each branch had different living habits. How to nurture soul charmers had become a complicated subject. Wang Feng looked in the direction of the voice, only to see a 12 or 13-year-old girl angrily explaining to a few stunned children. This 12-year-old girl's soul power had reached rank 39. She didn't look old, but she was a capable soul master. Wang Feng could also sense that she had 2 life soul contracts in her body. This meant that she had 2 soul-bound beasts. She's very talented. Wang Feng sighed. When he was this age, he didn't even reach this soul power level. However, the soul power level limit in the Douluo world had already been broken from rank 100. It wasn't surprising that a 12-year-old had this soul power level. But, Psychic Sister, since it's not fire type, why is it called the Ice Fire Flower? A child blinked his big eyes and asked. Ice is the type, and flame means that this flower is shaped like a flame. The 12-year-old girl answered patiently. So, when you nurture it outside the body, you have to prevent it from being in ice water. Don't throw it into a fire. Although it looks like a flame, and although it's a plant soul beast, it still has life. Oh, I understand. Wang Feng looked at it with interest. The monster breeding grounds in this area were mainly made of plants. Next, I'll introduce you to the most special type of initial soul beast here. The girl led several children to the other side and said to an extremely beautiful and dazzling flower. This is called the Ice Lotus. This plant soul beast is very special. Do you know what's special about it? I feel that it's very beautiful. A child raised his hand and replied, looking at it with sparkling eyes. Chapter 17:11. It was indeed a very beautiful flower. Even Wang Feng had to admit that this special ice lotus was somewhat similar to his chaotic green lotus. He had never seen a lotus martial soul or soul beast in the Douluo world. This ice lotus exuded a noble and elegant aura. It was only the size of a palm. Although it had not bloomed and was only a flower bud, the crystal surface of the flower bud exuded a bright and dazzling light. It was hard to look away. It did not exude a trace of coldness. There was only a kind of proud and extraordinary immortal aura that was isolated from the world. Furthermore, it was placed in a pool by itself. The pool also contained rich energy and was very special. Could this be left behind by the Snow Empress? Wang Fengxin exclaimed softly. This lotus obviously had a special life, aura, because it was not born naturally. It was a soul beast that was created. To have the ability to create a soul beast with life, even if it was the simplest plant. Only the Snow Empress could do that. Furthermore, it was an ice lotus. The special thing is, the girl opened her mouth and said, this is a plant-type soul beast that was condensed from the life of a powerful soul beast. In the entire world, there is only one. There is no other one. After hearing this, the group of children suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Sister Psyche Master, can I choose this as my first soul-bonded beast? A child asked excitedly. One of kind. This attraction had already made these children not want to think about anything else. Idiot! The girl who was called the Psyche Master glared at the children and pointed to the sign beside the pool. Don't you see what is written on it? For viewing only. This soul beast was created by a powerful soul beast. It has a special meaning and symbol. How can you choose it? The Psyche Master gently pointed at the ice lotus in the pool. There was a hint of infatuation in her eyes. Then, will it always be like this? Only at our soul beast base for viewing? Won't that be a waste? A child asked. That's not it. The Psyche Master said, that powerful soul beast once left a message. If a soul master can make this ice lotus bloom, this ice lotus will become his soul-bonded beast. However, it has been many years. The psychic master pinched his fingers and counted. It's been more than 100 years. Forget about blooming. There hasn't been any movement at all. Even experts above level 100 could not make it blossom. No matter how much life force is injected into this ice lotus, it won't have any effect. Its life seems to have stopped. Of course, it could also be that he's waiting for a fated person. When Wang Feng heard that, he thought to himself, of course not. This ice lotus contained the origin of the Snow Empress, and was equivalent to a soul beast that was being nurtured. The only thing that could be awakened was the Snow Empress essence blood. Of course, it was also possible that the ice lotus had its own life and consciousness, and that there was a soul master who was perfectly compatible with it. It was also possible for it to awaken and bloom. But obviously, that was not very likely. Why did the Snow Empress place the ice lotus here? Wang Feng thought for a moment. The Snow Empress was not a woman with complicated thoughts. The only reason she did this was probably because she discovered that the world had changed greatly after she came out of seclusion, and that the situation between soul beasts and humans had been turned upside down. Humans no longer had any enmity towards soul beasts. She thought of Wang Feng and wanted to create a soul beast that was similar to Wang Feng's martial soul. She wanted to place her thoughts in this soul beast and place it in the human world. She wanted to express her recognition of this change. Wang Feng thought for a moment and walked over. He looked at the little girl and asked, "Little friend, can I take this ice lotus away if I can make it bloom?" The psychic master was suddenly asked a question. When she reacted, she realized that it was a big brother who was so handsome that she couldn't breathe. He was smiling at her. You. The psychic master was stunned for a moment. She looked at Wang Feng and felt that she had seen him somewhere before. What's wrong? Wang Feng smiled and said, "Let's talk slowly." The Psyche Master was silent for a moment before he grunted, "Yes, but I advise you not to waste your soul force, Soul Master." Have we met somewhere before? I haven't seen you before. Wang Feng smiled. He had indeed not seen this little girl before. However, even if he didn't use the primordial origin, he could vaguely guess where this little girl came from. But I feel like I've seen you somewhere before. The Psychic Master looked at Wang Feng with uncertainty. Wang Feng smiled and didn't answer. He confirmed, "So, as long as I can make this ice lotus bloom, I can take it away?" The Psychic Master thought for a moment and said, "The ice lotus is very important. If you really want to try, you can. However, you need the 5 people in charge of the North Ice Base to be present." At this point, the Psychic Master looked at Wang Feng. "Are you sure you want to try? But let me say this first. Many soul masters don't have enough soul power. In the end, not only do they fail to make the ice lotus bloom, they even use up their soul power and suffer different degrees of injuries. Some of them can't even be cured. Is it that dangerous?" Wang Feng said without a care. "Of course. This is a miraculous item." The Psychic Master's face was tense and very serious. In the current world of soul beasts, it is the only one. If you want to obtain it, you have to take a certain risk. Wang Feng laughed involuntarily. In fact, he didn't believe this girl. There couldn't be any danger, because this ice lotus didn't have the ability to hurt people. At most, the soul power that others poured into it would be like a clay ox entering the sea. There would be no reaction, and the soul power would be temporarily exhausted. She was only saying this to persuade him to give up. "All right, get the person in charge of your base to come over. I want to take this ice lotus with me," Wang Feng said with a serious face. The Psychic Master didn't try to persuade him anymore. She first called 2 young men over with a few children beside her. Then, she hurriedly ran out and skipped. After a while, several figures filed in from outside the beast breeding ground. Wang Feng was carefully looking at the ice lotus. The more he looked at it, the more he felt that it had a special charm. He didn't know how much effort the Snow Empress had put in to create it, even though he had already seen the Snow Empress. However, the situation was different, and the feelings in his heart were very different. Mother, it's that big brother. The psychic master said to the girl in the lead seriously. He's very handsome, very special. However, I feel that he's a little familiar. The girl was wearing a long red dress. Her face was cold and beautiful, and there was a hint of charm in it. Two very different auras were mixed on her body, but they didn't seem out of place. The main thing was that while her face was cold and beautiful, her figure was too voluptuous. However, she exuded an extremely strong aura, which was enough to make anyone overlook her appearance and figure. Her fiery red dress carried an aura that was as hot as flowing flames. There wasn't any temperature, but it made one's heart feel like it was burning. Look at you. Everyone who is good-looking looks familiar. The girl tapped the girl's forehead and said with some interest, however, if he can make you feel that he's special, he must be extraordinary. However, even your mother doesn't have the ability to take this ice lotus away. I think so too, but he seems very confident. The psychic master held the girl's hand and chuckled. Chapter 17:12. Wang Feng looked at the ice lotus quietly. The temperature in the beast breeding ground was relatively low. There were all sorts of man-made icebergs and ice fields, as well as all sorts of vegetation. However, there was still a bright light source shining in the sky. Other than this ice lotus, there were all sorts of ice-type plant soul beasts. The energy was very pure, and there weren't any auras from other soul beasts. It was very suitable for the growth of ice-type plants. Wang Feng looked at it and was a little lost in thought, until a voice sounded. You're the one who wants to bring the ice lotus, right? Which region are you from? Wang Feng came back to his senses and turned to look at the owner of the voice. He revealed a smile on his face. There wasn't much surprise in his eyes, as if he already knew who this person was. Instead, the owner of the voice was stunned for a long time after seeing Wang Feng's face. Xiao Dao, long time no see, Wang Feng said with a smile. The eyes of the beautiful woman in the fiery red dress instantly moistened. Mother! The psychic master tilted his head and looked at his mother. As the strongest soul charmer in Douluo, she was also one of the few peak powerhouses who had surpassed rank 100. His mother, who was also known as the Ice Phoenix, had never shown such an expression. The psychic master knew his mother's position in the Martial Spirit Federation. Whether it was in terms of strength or experience, she was the best. This was especially so for the heroes who had made outstanding contributions in the war back then. Countless later generations of humans called themselves the role models of gods. She was also the first batch of soul charmers back then. Ever since he could remember, the psychic master didn't know how strong his mother was. The psychic master had never thought that such a powerful mother would show emotions such as crying. It can't be, right? Wang Feng looked at Ma Xiaotao, who was a little speechless, and shook his head helplessly. Your child is already so big, and you have a family. This world has already passed for a few hundred years. Why are you still crying? The lady in front of him was Ma Xiaotao. Back then, Wang Feng walked out of the Divine Mountain and created the first batch of soul charmers. Wang Feng remembered very clearly that other than Ma Xiaodao, there was also Hui Yuhao, Tang San's daughter, Wang Dong, Xiao Xiao, and He Kai too. Their first soul-carving beast was personally chosen by Wang Feng. A few hundred years had passed. The Douluo world's energy had become denser, and the lifespan of humans had greatly increased. Even though the passageway to the God realm had been cut off during that period of time, it wouldn't be a problem for the top soul masters to live for several hundred years. Wang Feng didn't know about the others, but these disciples definitely wouldn't die so easily. However, Wang Feng did not expect to meet Ma Xiaotao here. When they were in the Dark Devil world, Wang Feng had asked Ma Hongjun. Ma Xiaotao was indeed his descendant's descendant. Now that the passageway between the two worlds had been opened, it seemed that Fatty Ma's side hadn't noticed this yet. Wang Feng suddenly thought of something. Logically speaking, this shouldn't be the case. Rong Rong and Zhu Qing were sent to the Douluo world by Tang San and Xiao Wu to stop Emotiance. Fatty Ma and Dai Mubai first dealt with the humans, while Rong and Zhuqing searched everywhere for their Dalu world bodies. In that case, Fatty Ma should have seen Ma Xiaodao. At this moment, the people in charge of Ma Xiaodao's company looked on in shock. Senior Xiaodao, what's wrong with you? One of the people in charge asked carefully. They were the powerhouses guarding this soul beast breeding base. They were all titled soul contracted soul masters and Douluo above rank 95. But in terms of strength and experience, they were obviously not comparable to Ma Xiaodao. It's nothing. Ma Xiaodao waved her hand and wiped the tears from the corner of her mouth. Her face was full of smiles. She looked at Wang Feng and said softly, "Teacher, I thought I was dreaming. I didn't expect to see you again. I won't cry." Wang Feng pointed at the tears at the corner of Ma Xiaodao's eyes that had yet to dry up. Teacher, it's because the humidity here is too high. The dew condensed." Ma Xiaodao's tone was a little sly as she quibbled. The psychic master was full of question marks. This is my mother who is usually serious and incomparably cold? The cold mother who has lived for hundreds of years and is revered as the ice phoenix goddess by countless soul masters in the Federation? No, this can't be true. Not only the psychic master, but the 4 people in charge at the side were also dumbfounded. Teacher? They grasped the key word. Where did the ice phoenix goddess come from? In today's Federation, who could be his goddess? All of you leave. At this moment, Ma Xiaodao seemed to have reacted. Her tone towards the other people in charge changed, and she said indifferently, "I'm enough here. I will look after Ice Lotus." The 4 people in charge opened their mouths and wanted to ask more, but they still left. "Mom, do I have to leave too?" The psychic master tugged at Ma Xiaodao's dress. And Ma Xiaodao was stunned. "This is your child?" Wang Feng glanced at the psychic master and frowned slightly. "Why doesn't it look like it? She doesn't seem to have your bloodline. But her martial soul seems to be yours. It seems to have mutated. You? How can you see my martial soul? I clearly didn't reveal my mutated martial soul in front of anyone." However, the psychic master immediately stuttered and looked at Wang Feng with eyes full of confusion. "No, it's not like that." Ma Xiaodao hurriedly explained. Her tone was a little hurried. "The psychic master isn't my child. No, she's not my biological child. I adopted her." "Adopted?" Wang Feng nodded. "It was indeed so. I thought you already had a family. It's been a few hundred years. If you did have a family, you would have children and grandchildren. You wouldn't be this little one. Who are you calling a little one?" The psychic master looked at Wang Feng unhappily. "I'm 12 years old this year. I'm already 39 years old. I'm not a little one. I'm a very powerful soul renderer." As soon as she finished speaking, Ma Xiaodao immediately glared at the psychic master. The psychic master immediately didn't dare to speak anymore. She only dared to move her little mouth and whisper something. "Psychic master, this is Mom's teacher back then." Ma Xiaodao said kindly, "He's..." At this point, Ma Xiaodao suddenly stopped. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. He was the ancestor who created the soul renderer. He was even an ancient existence from 10,000 years ago. However, Wang Feng's current appearance was obviously different from back then. Even the statues built in the major cities today were the appearance of Wang Feng's avatar when he walked on the continent. Although this main body was very similar to the avatar back then, it wasn't that avatar. She wouldn't believe it if she told her child. Moreover, her teacher didn't seem to like revealing his identity casually. This would attract a lot of trouble. Is he the person Mom likes? The psychic master saw that his mother didn't speak and casually made up a story. Anyway, she looked and felt like it. Unexpectedly, this sentence caused Ma Xiaodao's body to tremble, and her face immediately turned red. "You child!" Ma Xiaodao slapped the psychic master's butt and said angrily, "Is Mom too lenient on you usually? You say all kinds of nonsense whenever you open your mouth." The psychic master's hands immediately covered his butt in pain and snorted. Wang Feng frowned slightly. A child like the psychic master couldn't tell, but Wang Feng wasn't a fool. Ma Xiaodao's expression was obviously due to her embarrassment and anger from having her secret exposed. Besides, this shouldn't be. It's been a few hundred years. Wang Fengxin sighed in his heart. He knew in his heart that when he walked out of the Divine Mountain, he stayed for a year or two in the Douluo world 10,000 years later to spread the word of soul contractors. Unknowingly, he also charmed a few children. Wang Fengxi knew, but he didn't have the mood to face this kind of relatively simple emotion at that time. After leaving the divine realm, he thought that their secret love would disappear with time. However, looking at the situation, it didn't look good. No wonder Bibi Dawn was so jealous and dissatisfied at that time. She obviously followed his instructions and returned to the Douluo world. After making a trip there, she found many clues. Children's words carry no harm. Wang Feng smiled and said to the psychic master, "I'm just your mother's teacher back then. Don't think too much. Moreover, it's been so many years. Your mother should have met someone better than me, right? How is that possible?" Before the psychic master could speak, Ma Xiaotao subconsciously blurted out. After saying that, Ma Xiaotao's face became hot again, and she quickly said, "Teacher, don't joke around. Not to mention another 100 years. Even if another 1,000 years or 10,000 years pass, there will be no one who can compare to you." The psychic master at the side thought, "It seems that mother really can't forget her teacher. She can even say such words?" Wang Feng thought for a moment and seriously pondered for a moment. It's really not possible. The psychic master, she opened her mouth slightly and looked at Wang Feng. Ma Xiaotao laughed and said, "Teacher, you're still the same as before. Even modesty is fake." So, Wang Feng glanced at Ma Xiaotao. The meaning was self-evident. I'm still okay." Ma Xiaotao averted her gaze and lowered her head. She used the tips of her toes to stand on the icy ground. After a while, she giggled and said, "Teacher, don't listen to this child's nonsense. How could I possibly like you?" Hee. The psychic master whispered softly, "So that's how my name came about. I was wondering why mother gave me such a name." Psychic master, didn't it mean that she missed her teacher? Bullying a child for not understanding, right? Forget it. Let's talk about serious matters first. Wang Feng pointed at the ice lotus and said, "I want to take this ice lotus away." Only then did Ma Xiaotao recall this matter. After pondering for a moment, she said, "Yes, but this ice lotus is rather special. It was condensed by a powerful soul beast in the extreme north. She is very strong, even stronger than the current strongest soul beast in our federation. Maybe only Huiyu Hao and the rest can fight her." Huiyu Hao is so powerful? Wang Feng asked in surprise. The Snow Empress had been in closed-door cultivation for so long. With his blood essence from back then, she could be much weaker than the Silver Dragon after such a long period of cultivation. But the Class 2 and Class 3 gods in the God world couldn't be a match for the Snow Empress. Even Class 1 gods might not be able to defeat her. Oh wait, Huiyu Hao was the protagonist of the Douluo world back then. Although he became Wang Feng's disciple and changed his original trajectory, he must have had some special encounters. However, he must have had some fortuitous encounters later on and had probably become a true god by now. It's okay. Wang Feng shook his head. This ice lotus should have been placed here by her specially, waiting for me to make it bloom. Question mark. Ma Xiaotao looked at Wang Feng doubtfully. She thought for a moment and seemed to understand something. The few sovereigns in the extreme north seemed to be her teacher's underlings. "Teacher, what is your relationship with that soul beast?" Ma Xiaotao asked carefully. The psychic master at the side listened attentively. His eyes lit up. He seemed to be very interested in this kind of gossip. Wang Feng smiled and said, "She is your teacher's wife." Ma Xiaotao. She was stunned on the spot. The psychic master also opened his mouth wide. At the same time, Wang Feng flicked his finger. A bit of divine power condensed into a light and flew towards the ice lotus. Under normal circumstances, blood essence was needed to activate this ice lotus. However, Wang Feng's current body and strength were no longer the same as before. The power of a drop of his blood essence was enough to overturn everything in the Douluo world. He was already half a step into the threshold of a universal life form. He was much stronger than before. One had to know that this body and the clone that had just been cultivated in the god realm used all the same abilities. There was no distinction between the two. That clone was a physical body condensed from Shiyu's heavenly embryo will. And this body also had the heavenly embryo will in the physical body. It could be considered a body that had barely reached the level of a universal life form. It was extraordinary. Therefore, Wang Feng naturally couldn't use his blood essence to awaken it. He only used his divine power to simulate the energy waves of his blood essence. But even if it was just a bit of divine power brilliance, it emitted a slight aura. In an instant, all the soul beasts in the entire beast breeding ground grew crazily and gained intelligence. Most of the plant-type soul beasts that had just been born for a few months were still in the state of sprouts. Almost in the blink of an eye, they grew to the level of 10,000 years. This scene was like the sudden revival of spirit chi on a land that had been depleted of spirit chi. In the blink of an eye, even the roof of the originally spacious beast breeding ground was torn apart. All kinds of childish sounds came from the mouths of the various plant-type soul beasts as they crazily crowded around Wang Feng. Sigh. No, it's still too strong. Without 3 souls as one, I can't completely control my current divine power. Wang Feng shook his head helplessly and was a little distressed. After returning to the Douluo world, his divine power had been growing. The divine power of faith that he had condensed in the past few hundred years was not a small amount. If Wang Feng wanted to now, the entire world's resources and energy would increase rapidly. It would only take a few days for it to surpass the God realm. It could truly enlighten the entire Douluo world, strengthen the world's origin, and even directly create a cycle of heaven that belonged to the Douluo world. It could open up countless derivative small worlds, and so on. But Wang Feng kept this divine power of faith to develop the ancestral realm. Naturally, he wouldn't use it to strengthen the Douluo world. Moreover, this world was already steadily rising and had formed a perfect order. There was no need for Wang Feng to break the entire world structure again. It was unnecessary. However, Ma Xiaotao, who was at the side, was completely stunned. She couldn't do this scene. The current Douluo world was not simple. She even saw very clearly that just a wisp of light from the corner of her teacher's brilliance easily made the hundreds and thousands of soul beasts in the entire beast breeding ground grow crazily and evolve. It was like a miracle. It was also rapidly spreading to the other beast breeding grounds. This could be seen from the various cries of horror that came from outside. I didn't control it well. Wang Feng shook his head and looked at Ma Xiaotao apologetically. After all, she was in charge of this place. It would be troublesome to deal with the aftermath after creating such a huge commotion. It's nothing, Ma Xiaotao stammered. After so many years, her teacher had become more and more unfathomable. Chapter 17:13. This miraculous scene not only shocked Ma Xiaodao, but also the entire Northern Eye Soul beast breeding base. Fortunately, Wang Feng controlled it well. Very soon, the droplet of divine power landed on the ice lotus. With this drop of divine power, the ice lotus trembled slightly almost immediately, and the budding flower slowly bloomed. Dazzling icy lights flashed explosively from all directions. Wang Feng seemed to sense the special emotions from the ice lotus. He was momentarily stunned. Following this, the ice lotus flew from the water to Wang Feng's side. It gently touched Wang Feng, as if it was acting coquettishly. It also seemed to be able to sense a sense of familiarity from Wang Feng. I see. Wang Feng was deep in thought. This ice lotus contained the Snow Empress longing for him. More accurately speaking, it was a life created by the Snow Empress. However, perhaps due to certain reasons, this ice lotus wasn't fully formed. Simply put, the ice lotus had already formed its life. However, it couldn't develop sentience. As a result, it was still in a nurturing state. The Snow Empress couldn't develop sentience for this ice lotus. To put it in a more profound way, he was still unable to enlighten this ice lotus and make it develop intelligence that could truly grow. It could become a true, sentient life. Therefore, she placed this object in the human world. She hoped that a fated person could awaken this ice lotus through a life contract. Am I overthinking? Wang Feng was a little embarrassed as he looked at this ice lotus. He originally thought that the Snow Empress placed this object here because she hoped that he would see it when he came here. Then he would bring this ice lotus to see the Snow Empress. However, that's not right. This ice lotus is a little complicated. No soul master can awaken it just by relying on a life contract. Unless someone has my bloodline and strength. Wang Feng shook his head. The Snow Empress couldn't do that. After all, the Snow Empress' understanding of life wasn't very high. She couldn't think so deeply. Now that this ice lotus had developed sentience, it could be considered a true soul beast. Its potential was limitless. Wang Feng looked at this ice lotus and hesitated for a moment. He decided to take it with him. It was created by the Snow Empress. To a certain extent, it was more like a child created by the Snow Empress and himself. Although it wasn't through conventional means, it could be considered a child in the sense of life. Wang Feng stretched out his hand and gently touched the petals of the ice lotus. Indeed, he could feel a sense of familiarity. He thought to himself, I didn't expect my first descendant to be an ice lotus. If Bibi Dan, Zhu Zhuqing, and Qian Renxue knew about it, I wonder if they would be angry, Wang Fengxin said. Real swords and spears did not produce any offspring. There were no real swords or spears, but instead, there was a continuation of future generations. Teacher, is it done? Ma Xiaotao's eyes were in a trance, as if she had just woken up from a dream. Mom, are you an idiot? The ice lotus has bloomed. The psychic continued. It's obvious that it's a success. Not only that, it's even... As he spoke, the psychic scanned the entire monster breeding ground. His scalp went numb. Who was her mother's teacher? With a flick of his finger, all of the infant soul beasts in the beast breeding ground grew and evolved, ranging from tens of thousands of years old to hundreds of thousands of years old. Moreover, he was only targeting the ice lotus earlier. A miracle. Only a god could do that, right? The Psyche Master thought that his mother's teacher was not simple at all. Are you the only one who talks too much? Is your butt itching again? The Psychic Master's words woke Ma Xiaotao up. She glared fiercely at the Psychic Master. Wang Feng could not help but laugh. Although this mother and daughter were not related by blood, their relationship was probably better than that. It's not completely healed yet, but I can take this ice lotus away. Wang Feng nodded as he spoke. The ice lotus has bloomed. It's so close to you. It's within the rules if you want to take it away, Ma Xiaotao immediately said. After speaking, she was a little hesitant. She wanted to ask something, but it was not appropriate for her to do so. The Psychic Master at the side said, Big brother, are you leaving now? Do you want to stay for a few more days? I'm in the extreme north. I'll be in the extreme north for a few more days, Wang Feng replied. That's great, Ma Xiaotao blurted out. But after thinking about it, she realized that her teacher was in the extreme north to find the Snow Empress. She sighed in her heart. Wang Feng smiled as he looked at the ice lotus floating in his palm. He said, Actually, I wanted to give this child a form, but it's just awakened. It's a little too early to give it a form now. After a few more days, when it's used to this world, I'll help it transform. After that, I'll head to the depths of the extreme north. Transform? Ma Xiaotao was stunned. She subconsciously asked, It's just born. How can it transform? Only soul beasts that were at least 100,000 years old had the ability to take human form. Of course, some treasures could do it too. But how could a newborn soul beast like this transform? But after thinking about it, she realized that it might not be difficult for her teacher to do so, given his unfathomable cultivation. But why would her teacher go to such lengths for an ice lotus? No matter what, it would be good if he could stay for a few more days. In the next few days, Wang Feng stayed in the Northern Ice Soul Beast Cultivation Base for a few more days. Wang Feng's transformation of the ice lotus had caused all sorts of changes to the newborn soul beasts in the base. Fortunately, There was only one set of rules in the base. While there was a lot of commotion, Ma Xiaodao was able to quickly settle things down. 2 days later, Wang Feng began to transform the ice lotus. For Wang Feng, it was actually not difficult. Although the ice lotus had no cultivation to speak of, it had the bloodline of the Snow Empress and himself. Wang Feng only needed to inject suitable life energy into it to help it condense into the shape of a human baby. As the bloodline of the Snow Empress and himself, the ice lotus was created by the Snow Empress. Naturally, it was different from ordinary soul beasts. Not to mention other things, on the second day after the transformation, it could absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to cultivate. It could also learn the language of human transmission. Its spiritual intelligence was extremely high. Since Wang Feng was creating a body for his own child, he naturally couldn't treat it casually. Not to mention the sacred body of the ancients or the chaotic sacred body. Of course, Wang Feng was not interested in these. But no matter what, he could not be too bad. In the end, Wang Feng specially returned to the reincarnation plane of the ancestral realm and chose a floating life form in the Sea of Bitterness. He used the illusory origin to wash away its consciousness and turned it into a pure void matter. Then, he used the divine power of faith to activate the chaotic green lotus and release a ray of chaotic divine light. The two were combined, with the red lotus as the base. The two were merged under the burning of the hellfire. Then he placed the ice lotus on the 12th grade golden lotus and slowly transformed it in a separate beast breeding room. It took a total of 2 days. During these 2 days, Wang Feng was a little nervous. He was like a father waiting outside the emergency room for the birth of his child. Although he was always paying attention and watching with his own eyes, he was still a little nervous. "Teacher, will the ice lotus be a boy or a girl when it transforms?" Ma Xiaodao asked curiously. According to the spiritual intelligence of the ice lotus, Wang Feng muttered, "It should be a girl." "Oh, then her mother should be your wife, right?" Ma Xiaodao asked quietly. "Of course." Wang Feng smiled. "However, your master's wife is a little dull. She probably didn't realize what the ice lotus she created was. The Snow Empress was a life form condensed from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. She had no concept of reproduction. She was not human, because she might not even know how to give birth to offspring, because she was not a normal soul beast." End of chapter. Chapter 17:14. By the way, where are your other junior brothers and sisters? How are Hui Yu Hao and the others now? While the ice lotus was being shaped, Wang Feng asked casually. The Ma Xiaotao was slightly taken aback. They went to other worlds to play. They are still in Douluo world and Nan'an. The others usually return to Douluo world in a few years. Nan'an? Jiang Nan'an? Wang Feng reacted. Yes. Ma Xiaodao looked at Wang Feng with a smile. "Teacher, do you want to see her? She is in the soul beast breeding base in the Great Star Dough Forest." This? Wang Feng's eyelids twitched slightly. Forget it. That child was even more obvious than Ma Xiaodao. At the end of the Pinnacle Soul Master Tournament, it was basically clear. But at that time, Wang Feng had already planned to go to the Divine Realm and wouldn't stay in Douluo World for long. Naturally, there was no response. If Nan'an heard this, she would definitely be heartbroken. Ma Xiaodao curled her lips. "Teacher, these children all thought you had passed away. Until that teacher's wife appeared and took away your body, they all believed that you were still alive." Ma Xiaodao should be talking about the BB Dawn. "I vaguely remember that day. Your body broke out of the Divine Mountain." Ma Xiaotao's eyes flashed with memories. However, not long after, it fell from the sky lifelessly. The one who cried the most at that time was Nan'an. At that time, Teacher was fighting a strong enemy in another world and used the power of this body. "Actually, I didn't die." Wang Feng was silent for a while before explaining. "Who knows?" Ma Xiaotao shrugged. "Anyway, we all thought you were dead at that time." Wang Feng shook his head. "You really don't want to see Nan'an?" Ma Xiaotao asked. "We will if fate allows," Wang Feng said. Although he said that, in fact, with Wang Feng's current realm, fate the karma of Douluo world couldn't affect Wang Feng at all. Just like before he came, he had already predicted that he would meet Ma Xiaotao here. If he wanted to, he could meet whoever he wanted. If he didn't want to, Ma Xiaotao obviously didn't know this. She curled her lips and thought, it seems that I and teacher are still very fated. Not long after, in the beast breeding room, the ice lotus on the golden lotus pedestal, in the flickering light, was finally shaped. It was a girl. She was a little girl about 2 or 3 years old. Ma Xiaotao glanced at it, and her heart melted instantly. Because this child was too cute. The little girl had snow-white skin and adorable and delicate facial features. Her beautiful hair was naturally combed neatly, and there was an ice lotus-like hair ornament on both sides of her head. She was wearing a little skirt with an ice pattern carved on it. At this moment, she was stumbling as she stood on the lotus platform. She blinked her bright eyes and looked at everything around her with curiosity and confusion. Her pupils were the color of ice crystals. They contained divine light and were extraordinarily intelligent. She was like a little fairy that had fallen into the mortal world. At first glance, Ma Xiaotao felt that this child was too cute. Moreover, she could feel that this child's small body contained an extremely powerful force, as well as a special aura that transcended everything. He was not in the world of nature. This is the ice lotus? Ma Xiaotao murmured. That's right, Dad. The little girl's gaze finally fell on Wang Feng. She stood up and stumbled to Wang Feng's side. She raised her little head, blinked her shining eyes, and stretched out her hands. Wang Feng hugged her, feeling a little excited for the first time. This excitement did not come from the call of Dad. It was a kind of understanding of the creation of life. This child's transformation was actually a process of creating life. This feeling was recorded in the primordial origin recording this moment. Wang Feng's change would have a huge impact on the creation of all things in the ancestral realm in the future. This was because the transformation process of the ice lotus was Wang Feng's idea and process of creating innate life forms in the ancestral realm. He just used it on this child in advance. The difference was that this child also had his bloodline. Good. Wang Feng patted the ice lotus's little head. Although she was not a child born through normal human means, the little ice lotus had a special meaning to him. Teacher, let me hug her. Ma Xiaotao's eyes were a little hot. This is the first time I've seen such a young soul beast transform. By the way, you haven't given her a name yet. She was originally an ice lotus, so she'll naturally be called Ice Lotus, Wang Feng said. Teacher, that's too casual. Ma Xiaotao was a little speechless. The original name is the real name, and the name is a symbol. Wang Feng shook his head. There's no need to add any special meaning or expectations. It's best if it's natural. Ma Xiaotao felt that the teacher was talking about her. Her face couldn't help but heat up. That's right. The psychic master shouted at the side. Mom gave me such a name. It doesn't sound good at all. Ma Xiaotao glared at the psychic master, embarrassed and annoyed. 12 years old, how rebellious. Ma Xiaotao couldn't help but look at the little ice lotus in Wang Feng's arms. Her eyes filled with envy and hope. Mom, do you want to have one too? The psychic master whispered like a roundworm in Ma Xiaotao's stomach. This sentence made Ma Xiaotao's heart jump, her face red and her heart hot. She hurriedly covered the psychic master's mouth and retorted, Nonsense, your mom is annoyed enough with just you. But after saying that, she glanced at the teacher next to her. Wang Feng was teasing the little ice lotus. Although this child had just been enlightened by him and then transformed, she already had the spiritual intelligence of a 5 or 6-year-old child. Dad, I think I can sense Mom's location. She's thinking about you. The little ice lotus hugged Wang Feng's neck and said intimately, We'll go find your mom tomorrow. Wang Feng sighed. Other people's wives went to find their fathers after giving birth. On the other hand, even though he didn't give birth to a child, in terms of the child's eyes, it was as if he had given birth to the child. Okay. The little ice lotus happily kissed Wang Feng's face. Then she turned her little head and looked at Ma Xiaotao. her big shining eyes unblinking. Aunt Tao, I want you to hug me too. I'm okay. Ma Xiaotao was stunned for a while before she reacted. Wait, what did you call me? Aunt Tao. Ma Xiaotao blushed. This address wasn't right. But she still took the little ice lotus and felt as if she was holding a small ice jade. It was ice cold, but it also emitted a special life temperature. After hugging it for a while, she actually felt that her cultivation that hadn't improved for a long time had loosened a lot. She seemed to have touched the threshold of the origin laws that were difficult to touch. She couldn't help but be shocked. What exactly was this child? She didn't know. The body that Wang Feng created for the little ice lotus was extraordinary. It was an innate life form that transcended the Douluo world. Her physique contained great mysteries and was a true treasure. It wasn't inferior to the many great Tao saint bodies of those great worlds. Of course, these were all normal methods for the current Wang Feng. Creating a good body for his child and comprehending the mysteries of life at the same time was a win-win for Wang Feng. It would be of great help in creating the ancestral realm's innate 9 clans in the future. FPZW. Chapter 17:15. The extreme north was bone-chillingly cold and snowy all year round. It was late autumn, and the sun was nowhere to be seen, but the sky was still bright and moving. Under the clear, blue sky, the undulating glacier was like a giant dragon that lay dormant. On a snowy mountain peak that was a few thousand meters tall, a sleigh flew down from the mountain. The sleigh was exquisitely made, and 2 figures, one big and one small, sat on it. We're going to speed up. Wang Feng, who was at the helm of the sleigh, called out softly. His feet moved slightly, and the sleigh shot out like an arrow towards the bottom of the mountain range. The petite figure sat on Wang Feng's shoulder and hugged Wang Feng's head tightly, giggling nonstop. The 2 of them were Wang Feng and Little Ice Lotus, who had just left the North Ice Soul beast breeding base. After transforming Little Ice Lotus, Wang Feng stayed in the North Ice Soul beast breeding base for a few more days. He bade farewell to Ma Xiaotao and the Psychic Master, and went to the extreme north to meet the Snow Empress. As Ma Xiaotao's teacher, Wang Feng gave the Psychic Master a greeting gift before they parted. With Wang Feng's current cultivation level, the Psychic Master would benefit immensely from just a little guidance. Naturally, Wang Feng left the base under Ma Xiaotao's reluctant gaze. It wasn't that they wouldn't meet again in the future, but things had to be done first. Right now, he had to bring Little Ice Lotus to meet the Snow Empress first. Wang Feng was still very familiar with the extreme north, even though he hadn't seen it for a few hundred years. Without Little Ice Lotus, Wang Feng could go anywhere in the extreme north with a single thought. However, having a child meant having some fun, and it wouldn't take much time. Wang Feng didn't have much experience in taking care of children, but he had seen a pig run before. Little Ice Lotus was only 3 or 4 years old. No matter how strong she was still a child. Therefore, Wang Feng took many stops along the way. To make the journey less boring, he made full use of the extreme north's terrain and brought Little Ice Lotus around in all sorts of ways. The extreme north was such a snowy place, and skiing was a must. In addition, Little Ice Lotus was very close to the energy of the extreme north, so she was very happy to play in the snow. She smiled brightly along the way. Daddy, look, there are snowballs in the sky. I want to play with snowballs." The sleigh rushed out of the mountainside in a semicircular arc and glided through the air. Suddenly, Little Ice Lotus pointed to the distant horizon and said excitedly, "In the distance, under the boundless sky, sparkling and translucent snow pearls suddenly fell down and rotated in the air, patrolling. It looked like hail. However, with the weather and terrain of the extreme north, it was impossible for hail to appear. Those should be star soul spheres, right?" Wang Feng used his divine will to scan the area. Star soul orbs were similar to the unmanned surveillance drones of the Blue Planet. They appeared in the extreme north and were often used to monitor special terrains or to monitor dangerous soul beasts. Star soul orbs were very stealthy and difficult to be detected by soul beasts. The extreme north is the world's strongest region for soul beasts. After soul beasts signed a peace treaty with humans, humans are generally not allowed to interfere with the internal affairs of soul beasts. These star soul orbs are forbidden from being thrown into the various large soul beast forests. Wang Feng frowned slightly. Before he left, he chatted with Ma Xiaotao about the current situation of the world. He knew everything in detail. Wang Feng's eyes flickered, and he instantly saw through the dozens of star soul orbs. There are special imprints on the star soul orbs. According to the imprints, these star soul orbs came from the Holy Ghost Church. Wang Feng was stunned. He knew about the Holy Ghost Church. In Yu Hao's era, they were an evil force in the Sun-Moon Empire. However, that was in the Douluo world, where Wang Feng's timeline didn't exist. They only had such strength in the original novel. But why do they still have it now? It had been a few hundred years since Yu Hao's era. Even if the Sun-Moon Empire had such an evil force, they should have been wiped out long ago. Furthermore, in his conversation with Ma Xiaotao, Wang Feng didn't hear about any powerful evil forces appearing in this world. To be precise, there were evil forces, but they were mostly small-scale. In Ma Xiaotao's eyes, they weren't even worth mentioning. Given the current situation, even evil forces didn't dare to casually invade the territory of soul beasts. Not to mention using star soul orbs to spy on the situation in the extreme north. This was a huge taboo. Not only couldn't they use current soul tool technology to spy on the extreme north, many powerful individuals who were beyond rank 100 couldn't use their spiritual power to spy on the extreme north. Interesting. Wang Feng squinted. Wang Feng patted Little Ice Lotus' head and said, "All right, let's play snowball." Little Ice Lotus clapped her hands excitedly after hearing his reply. Wang Feng's fingertips moved slightly, and the sled below turned into two skateboards that glided in midair. Following this, his palms clenched slightly in the air, and palm-sized snowballs gathered in Wang Feng's arms. "Here for you. Let's see who can hit more accurately." Wang Feng passed a snowball to Little Ice Lotus on his shoulder and pretended to be serious as he spoke. Little Ice Lotus took the snowball and exhaled at it. After this, she nodded seriously and threw it at the star soul orbs in front of her. Although Little Ice Lotus had only transformed for a few days, she had already adapted to her body. Although her body was small, it hid a huge amount of strength. She fiercely flung it out, and those star soul orbs that looked like rice grains from afar actually hit them with just one throw. Boom! Violent sparks rang out in the air. "Yay, I hit it! Daddy, look, I hit it!" Little Ice Lotus exclaimed excitedly. Wang Feng waited in his hand and threw out two. The snowball streaked across the sky and changed shape in midair, but it brushed past all the star soul orbs. Daddy didn't hit it. Wang Feng pretended to be disheartened and sighed. Little Ice Lotus is still the best. Hee hee, Daddy, you let me win. I don't want it. Little Ice Lotus kissed Wang Feng's cheek. Daddy is the best. Wang Fengxin was excited. Everyone said that a daughter was a father's intimate little jacket. Little Ice Lotus was so sensible. Come, hit a few more. Wang Feng passed two more snowballs to Little Ice Lotus. Little Ice Lotus didn't get tired and threw them out again. She hit one for each person, and another two beautiful sparks exploded in midair. 3-star soul orbs exploded, and the guy behind it still hasn't shown himself? Wang Feng said calmly. The guy who threw these star soul orbs came from an organization called the Holy Ghost Church. But in the current Douluo world, this evil organization didn't exist. Then, the origin of this organization was very interesting. Daddy, my hand is tired, but there are still so many snowballs. Little Ice Lotus rested her chin on Wang Feng's head. I can't finish them. It's okay, Daddy is here. Wang Feng picked up a snowball, weighed it in his hand, squinted his eyes, and threw it out again. Bang, 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 bang. A series of hitting sounds could be heard from afar. In an instant, all the star soul orbs exploded, forming a huge dark cloud that rose into the sky. Countless soul beasts below were alarmed by this, and they all turned their gazes to the sky. Many flying-type soul beasts also cried out and gathered in this place. At the same time, space suddenly trembled. In a chapter that you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.